Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here. I hope you are all doing well, healthy, happy, and wise. So good to see you. We are back for another episode of Lost in Space. We are on an episode from season two. We're going to pick up where we left last time. And the episode we're covering tonight is Rocket to Earth. So that's very enticing. So we ask ourselves, does that mean they're going to make it to Earth? Or who knows? Big question marks. This episode, it's season 2, episode 21, and it aired February 15th, 1967, if you're wondering. And I wanted to say, first of all, hello and greetings to my good friend and fellow co-panelist, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. How are you doing tonight, Gorilla?
Kind of irritated, to be honest.
Oh, that's not good. What's up?
Well, I've been going and going and going all weekend here with Summerfest and everything going on. Finally, good night. I could go to sleep early, have a nice good sleep. I was sleeping good. I get woken up at 2:30 in the morning to thunder and lightning. Now, this is the one night that I left my grill outside, had my hammock, and
Oh,
all four lines of clothes on there. I even said screw it when my lawnmower battery died. I just left it out there. I had everything, all this crap outside, and I see that we're in a severe thunderstorm warning. So I had to go out, get everything in, roll up the windows on the car, move the car out from underneath the tree and all that. That there. And then the storm blows in. I just can't fall asleep. Can't fall back to sleep. And just previously there, that Sunday there, I spent 3 hours picking up every single pine cone, every single stick and twig that was in the yard, making everything go good, just for it to look be worse than it was before with all the
oh,
wind.
sorry to hear that. I know it's a pain in the butt.
Oh, that's property life for you.
That is property life for you. And and I do remember washing clothes and then having them hang on the line. So I feel for you. I definitely understand.
Well, I'll just do that because I don't see the point of running the dryer when I got a natural dryer outside.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And I wanted to say also here, let me get my ducks in a row here. I want to say hello to the wonderful and fabulous chat out there, which we happen to have the best of. I love our chat, and everybody in it are wonderful. Would you like to help me read that out tonight?
Yeah, yeah, we got some guy named Pop saying hello to everyone.
Oh, that weirdo.
Yeah,
Watch out for him.
yeah, we gotta keep an eye on him. And we got a Jill that's anti-derivative. There, she says, "I'll be there shortly. Sorry to be late."
Sounds good, Jill. No problem.
Yeah, and welcome to Sean Carter. Welcome, welcome. He says, "Hello, everyone."
John, good to see you.
You say hi to Jill, and
And
we got
I
Scooby in the chat.
I wanted to shout out really quick. Sean Carter posted a really good Father's Day video, a tribute to his dad, and I suggest you all go and watch it if you get a chance. Excellent video, and the guy knows what he's doing. I'm jealous of all these people. You guys have great voices. I mean, when you make videos or when you are on panels or whatever, you guys sound good, and I sound like crap. So I don't know what it is, but I just don't seem to have a video. The I don't have seem to have a voice, but a lot of you guys do have.
Oh, I
So
saw that crap too, so I know I do.
I don't know. I think you sound fine.
Yeah,
I
but
know usually most people think that they sound like crap themselves, but I know me, it's especially with my voice going through what it's been going through, it really doesn't help.
And if you guys want to see Sean Carter's dad, just watch the opening intro to the Walton. His dad is the one driving the truck.
Oh wow, very cool. I didn't know that. Thank you for
Yeah.
bringing that.
Or at least that's what he claimed. He claimed though. So, but
Well,
hey,
I believe in my.
Scurvy,
Hey, lemon pie.
yeah, yeah, I believe. And Sean's giving a salute to. Yeah, he's giving an actual salute to Scurvy and not the one finger salute. So that's good, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing, I suppose.
Yeah, hey Sean and hey Gorilla. Hey Sean says, I, "Yeah, oh, we got some guy claiming to be PvP trying to get up here.
Oh, is it
Who?
an imposter?
I don't know.
How you doing,
I'll
PvP?
authenticate her.
Hi guys. Hi. Can you? Oh, just a second. Yep. Is my mic working?
We
Yeah,
do
we can
hear
hear
you,
you.
sir.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I wasn't sure for a second there. Hi guys.
Hello,
sorry
hello.
to sorry to be a bit late, but I realized I was almost out of milk, and I do like to have some milk in the fridge, so I ran over and got some.
Yeah,
Excellent. That's good to hear.
Yeah. So as
And
Jill
Jill
says,
should be. Jill will be
shortly.
along shortly as well. Yes.
yeah. And Sean says, I think we all dislike our own voice and others sound just fine. Yeah, bro. It just depends on who you talk to. There goes. Thank you, Pop, for the compliment
Oh,
for
it is my
Sean.
pleasure. Anytime at all.
and and Scurvy says, for a smoking ape, you sound fine.
I do appreciate that compliment, I suppose.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And Sean says, haha, yes, it was my dad. I actually had a bit part as an infant, but they cut me out because I was crying. Oh, what was your bit part? So we can look it up. And Scurvy says, it's PvP's evil twin, VPV. Or could it be a VPN? Ooh.
VPN.
Yeah.
Right, could be VPN.
uh, I guess that's
And
the thing with voices, though, isn't it? Oh, sorry, Pop. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say really quick here, but the problem is if they cut out the scene, you probably won't find it if you look it up. That's the whole problem.
Deleted scenes.
If there are, yeah, it there's definitely doesn't hurt to try. Go ahead, PvP.
I was just gonna say, I think a lot of people don't like the way they sound. Like, sometimes I hear myself, on a recording, and I think, gee, I don't know. I think I sound a bit, a bit weird. But then other people say, oh, you sound great. So I don't know. I mean, it's perception, I guess, right? Because I actually remember reading somewhere about David Bowie once, who said he didn't think he sounded good when he sang. And I'm thinking, wow, he's one of the greatest singers that ever lived, but he didn't like his own voice, right? So, there you go, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. But for me, no, I don't think so. It doesn't quite sound on par like what it should be. PvP, how are you doing tonight, by the way?
I'm doing okay. Doing okay. Yeah. There's a little bit of a mix up at work when I was away on Thursday, Friday for the, for the getting ready and heading out for the holiday. So unfortunately, some emails came in that should have been taken care of promptly, but they weren't because I wasn't there. And the person who usually would have done it, they had the day off as well. So
Oh,
it was like yikes. So I ended up, talking to some of my people a little bit higher up, my lead, team leader, so to speak, and got some really great information. It's like, okay, just word the email this way, apologize for the mix up, blah blah blah, So I think, hopefully, it'll all work out. Hopefully, when I hear back, it'll smooth over.
Yeah,
But
just tell them here. Here, I take one day off and the whole place just falls apart. I apologize for that.
yeah, yeah, really, eh? Yeah, it was
right,
just like my luck, right? Just my luck. I can't
right.
take a
Too bad the whole
day off.
place, but the whole place relies on you. You're not there, everything falls apart.
Well, that's what Gorilla's been telling his boss for years. I bet, right, Gorilla?
Oh, there's a reason why they always tell me I can't take a day off. off the.
Ah.
I was like, well, I'm taking the day off whether you approve it or not, so you might as well approve it.
Yeah,
And hey,
exactly.
Jill.
Right.
Hi,
Hello,
Jill.
hello.
Hi.
Good to see you, Jill. Hope you're
Sorry
doing
to be
well.
late. I'm doing all right. Thank you.
Oh, don't apologize. You're absolutely fine. We're just glad to see you and hope you're doing well as all. Wish you
Yes,
the
I'm doing all
best.
right. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Tonight we have an odd episode. So, PvP, now that you watched it again, do you recognize Al Lewis from the Munsters?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes, he's pretty hard not to recognize, actually, isn't he, Pop? Like it's just he's got one
Yes.
of those faces, even if you don't remember his name, you'll remember the face kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, an interesting bit of trivia is the guy that, in fact, let me make sure I got names here instead of just being random with this here. But he had worked with the director previously. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, Lost in Space has
Don
basically become.
Richardson.
Did you have fun
Go
watching the
ahead, Jill.
guest actor?
Yes, I know, right? But that's good though. That's something that stands out. I guess at least we do have something that makes it memorable.
Sure.
But we've all heard of Don Richardson. As we've been watching this show and studying each episode, we've been repeating names that we get to recognize. So it says directed by Don Richardson, and this is like I'll cover it. I'll get to where the exact number. This is like his 13th episode or something like that. That he has directed of Lost in Space, and he also directed episodes of The Munsters, and that's how we get the crossover because he recommended Al Lewis for the role, and I'm so glad he did it. It's much better for that and much richer. And obviously, another thing that you can't help but recognize is that famous laugh that Al Lewis always had.
Yeah. That Alex Lewis, for anybody who's in the dark here, played Grandpa on the Munsters.
Right. And if you don't know who the Munsters is, my goodness, you need to wake up and watch it. Unfortunately, there were only two seasons of it, but the Munsters and the Adams family are very what's the word? I got the course my tongue twisted. They're very recognizable. They're very similar. They both came out at the same time in the mid '60s. They both premiered, and then they both were canceled at the same time.
Yeah. All right, I'll be right back. I gotta go watch the Munsters.
You haven't seen it?
Might take a while.
I think I've seen bits and pieces of it.
It's good show, Gorilla. You should check it out. Seriously, it's a lot of fun.
I've seen a little bit of it just because it's my stepdad's favorite.
It's a really great show, actually, Jill. The Fred Gwynn playing Herman Munster I think he's hilarious. I really do. He's so good in the role, and the whole
Well,
cast is great, actually.
right. Not only do you have the whole cast, but Fred Gwynn and Al Lewis together was a great comedic duo. They had chemistry that was magnificent. It's rare that you get two people that play off each other so well. And plus, the writing was just perfect, on par. Is there is there any chat we need to catch up on
Yeah, if
before we
you want
move
to pull up
along?
the thing there, I'll read the chat. It says,
Appreciate
"Oh,
that.
there was some scene where they needed a baby, but I wouldn't stop crying, so they cut it out of the show. It was some point in season 1 or 2. I wonder if that's the one where Olivia gets knocked up. That might be the one.
On the
That's
Munsters?
no on Walton's, because we was talking about he had a bit scene
I don't
in
know.
the baby there, but it got cut out there, and he says it was either season 1 or season 2. So I bet you that's the one with Olivia was going to have the baby. I think it's called the baby.
Oh, and that's where they found out that she had some disease or whatever that prevented her from having a healthy pregnancy or something like that, right?
No, she just miscarried because of her age.
Right, but because of that, they decided they should no longer try to have babies anymore. Is that right?
Uh, I don't think they made that quite that decision there, but I think that's the last we hear of it. Or it
Well,
might
that
have been
makes
because
sense.
of polio, because she had polio too. All right,
Didn't
so
That is
yeah.
possible too. That is also possible.
yeah, and Scurvy says the smoking ape comment was aimed at Gorilla not Pop. LOL. No, he was thinking Sean for the compliment, or Sean was thinking the Pop for the compliment. There, we were reading the chat there, and
Oh,
Scurvy says hi
okay.
to Jill and hello to Scurvy, and Scurvy here says Gorilla will be back after watching the monsters. It should only take 24 hours. No, 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 12 hours. Because I want to do everything at 2x speed if I can.
Oh no, don't do that. That'll ruin the show.
Yeah, that would definitely ruin it.
Because a lot of has to do
Comedy,
with timing. Timing, right, Bob?
comedy, and timing, and those two things are instantly ruined if you change the pace of it.
Yeah. All right. So,
Okay,
and oh, Sean says, Jill, you want to read this one?
Oh, hey, Sean Carter. Hello. Jill said hi to Lemon, but not me. Fine, Jill. I see how it is. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Lemon. I mean, Sean Carter. Oops.
sorry about
Didn't-
that.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
I didn't see the chat. I didn't see you saying hi to me in the chat. I'm sorry.
yeah. Hey, Sean, if it makes you feel any better, Jill skips my witty comments all the time on her show. Though, but lately we've been so busy at work, I haven't been able to mess with you in the chat.
Not
Scooby
on
here says,
purpose or
Sean, I
anything.
waited till yeah. Sean says I waited until she came back for a higher chance of a reply. LOL.
Well, it seemed to work, but but definitely, like Jill said, it's definitely not intentional. Jill would never do that. She's not that kind of person at all.
Yeah. Uh, and then Sean's laughing. All right, we're all caught up, so
Thank you.
let's get this going. Let's get this up on
Okay,
the screen.
all right.
Yeah, let's play some baseball
Should we
or
read the
softball.
assessment? Should we read the assessment of this episode first, or should we start with
Yes.
the opening intro? I guess the assessment.
Yeah, you always read the assessment. I've gotten used to it. Why would you change that now?
Okay. Well, I was wondering in which order: assessment first, or the opening intro. But yeah, you're right. I think we usually do assessment first. Okay. Sorry about that. My mind's a little out of it. Assessment is as follows. And remember, I usually read from the book Urban Ellen's Lost in Space, the authorized biography of a classic sci-fi series. We're on volume 2, which reminds me as a reminder, note to self, I've got to go out and get volume 3 because we're heading into third season very soon here, which I'm excited about. That's great. For me, that's a milestone that I'm very proud of. And I know that Gorilla and I are almost at the end of Gilligan's Island as well. So we've been doing good, Gorilla.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we've done
So
pretty good. Even though it's been a couple weeks there, we something came up on your end of one week, and something came up on my end the other week.
right,
So hopefully we'll
exactly.
be back at it this week.
Our intention is to finish them. I know sometimes, guys, whenever you guys get the announcement saying that the stream has been postponed, or you see that we overall generally don't have it. I want you to know that I genuinely, truly feel bad about that because I enjoy having these, and I want to be able to sit back and enjoy each and every one of them with you. So my goal is to cover each and every one, essentially without repeating myself. Okay, so the assessment from the book by Mark Cushman is as follows. Rocket to Earth ranks up there with the best of the more whimsical and humorous second season episodes that we had seen so far, such as the android machine, the thief from outer space, and a visit to Hades. The entire cast is well utilized for what is essentially a Dr. Smith episode. The goodbye scene between Smith and Will and the robot is delightful, as is the payoff. When Will and the robot rush off after Smith, as the robot gleefully says, now we can say goodbye to Dr. Smith all over again. Although this is a treat, but it is as Officer Leo Schnauzer in Car 54, Where Are You? Grandpa Munster and the Munsters. Turkey in, which is a reminder, Gorilla. I'm sorry, PvP. We brought this movie up a few weeks ago. Lewis also played a character called Turkey in the movie They
Oh,
Shoot Horses, Don't They?
oh, that's a good movie. Yeah,
It
that's a
is.
really good movie.
And he's also in the movie that I've been wanting to watch, Used Cars. I brought that up a
Oh,
few
cool.
times. It's a comedy, and he's in it.
Maybe Gorilla could do that on his cringe stock used cars. That might be fun.
He could. It's a comedy, but it's not a. I don't want people to think it's a bad movie where we're watching it because it's a cringe kind of movie.
Maybe just on Sunday Cinema sometime or something then.
Or maybe, okay, because I understand. Well, we'll make, I know this is off topic. We'll make it quick. But I know we all have a set days where we have time where we could host a movie. So what about Gorilla, for example? If you try to show, like we were talking last night about the old man in the sea, and you were talking because people are getting tired of seeing cringe stuff all the time. But we know that you usually have your stream on Thursdays. What if we do it like this? What if we just create the names of new streams and then have them on Thursday? So, like one Thursday, you can have a cringe stock movie. Another Thursday, you can have like a classic cinema. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of names off the top of my head. But something like Sunday or Thursday cinema classic, Thursday comedy. You have like a Thursday comedy movie. And that way it varies. It'll give his channel a little bit of a variety, and people won't get bored. So you can
Yeah,
Yeah,
do it.
because
yeah.
used cars is way too cool for cringe talk.
Oh, you've seen it?
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I've
it's pretty
I've
cool.
I've never
Oh
seen it. I really
yes.
would like to see it.
Oh, it's a great, magnificent movie. But we can
I,
we'll come up with a name. Like comedy cinema. You know, that's easy to do, and that way we can just use Thursday kind of like a rotating thing to keep people
yeah,
interested. What do you think
that would be
about that?
great.
What do you think, Gorilla? I think we might as well. We're talking about Gorilla here, and it's his show, so we might as well get his opinion, right?
Yeah, if he's are you here, Gorilla? Oh, maybe he stepped away. I'll just
Oh,
say
oh,
I think
I muted myself for cause I was sneezing. I forgot to unmute.
No problem.
Yeah, and we just had that. They're starting that up again now. Every hour on the hour, someone's gonna launch a firework all night now. It seems like.
In celebration
Uh,
of what?
oh, they just do it because they know it annoys the whole town, but they don't.
Oh,
They do it. They'll do it every night or about once an hour there, and they'll keep moving around. So nobody can figure out who's doing it.
jeez.
do you
But
mind streaming while they, even if it happens?
nah, I got the windows closed right now because I had the air conditioning on.
What do you think of our
But
idea?
uh, I'll think on it there. But that's like a
Okay.
post production notes thing we should do. Thought we to
Yeah,
talk about it.
right. So, but I just want to throw that out there. That way you
I
Yeah.
think
can,
it's I think it's a good idea personally. I wouldn't mind, alternating, week to week. a little more variety would be kind of nice. Because
Or I could do
I
it.
mean,
Yeah. All right, but
Or I
Scurvy
could do
here
it.
says, okay.
Uh,
Scurvy here said Smith in that still looks like his back is acting up again. Now he's looking like he's being a snob, but no, but we'll talk. Let's talk about it in the backstage there where we can do it for Thursdays.
sure, that sounds good.
Yeah,
Hey, Penny hits a home run or something here, doesn't she? Almost like it's
good for
flying through
her.
the air.
fly ball easily caught.
But yeah,
Even I could have caught that.
but Smith, we're talking Smith here, so of course he would have dropped it, right?
I don't know. And
Well,
welcome DJ Play
yeah.
Nice here. Welcome DJ Play Nice.
And we'll never get. Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying hi to DJ Play Nice. And Scurvy here says this back pain is the true antagonist of the series. Oh, the pain! The pain!
And what's funny is, I remember hearing that all the time as a kid, and of course now here I am living it. So I understand what it's like. Except of course I don't use it as a crutch and constantly throw it in everybody's face. But it is kind of funny though.
Yeah, and DJ here says, hey, everyone. Then he
Hey,
goes,
Hey, hey, DJ, good to see you.
they starts naming the righteous, Scurry, Sean, Jill.
Glad you
And
could
then
join
he
us.
suggests Thursday Theater.
Thursday what?
Oh, how
I'm
about
sorry.
Thursday? We could call it Thursday night at the movies.
Yeah, something like that. Well, you don't have to have different names, bunch of different
Yeah.
names. You could just have one name, and it could have different topics, right? That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. All right, he
Gorilla
goes. That's
Thursday night
he
at the
said,
movies or something. Sorry,
yeah.
go
Then
ahead.
he says He says that's awesome, and he's laughing. Yeah, I think he's talking about the fireworks there. And Jill, you want to read this one? Jill? Oh, I guess
You may have
she's.
stepped away from the computer.
Did step away, but since I didn't say that I stepped away, I ran back. What do I need to read?
This one right here from Scurvy.
Jill,
So you're not
are
ignoring him.
you prepared for a rather rainy few days coming? That's what my grandpa was telling me, is that it's gonna rain, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Well,
That
well,
is in the weather.
at least 2/3 of your state's not in a flood watch.
Yeah. Well,
Two, thir-
I don't
two,
know. I don't
I
know.
never, I never seen 80% of my state in a flood watch.
Wow, that's a lot. 80%. Gosh.
Yeah, and right now down in the lakes area, I think they're starting to implement it up here on some of the lakes up here too. Is there
Oh.
5 miles per hour speed limits on the lakes. So
Maybe
no
all the heat is saving us from the flood.
So
maybe.
so the lakes are like extra full of water, so they have to slow the boats down. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
because what a lot of people they've built up on along the shorelines of all the lakes
Ah,
there, and if you get these lakes get pretty busy with a lot of boats on them, and
right.
if people are speeding across the lakes, it's creating bigger waves that which erodes the shoreline faster. With
Makes
this much
sense.
Okay.
water, they can't.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
It's to prevent wakes from forming because we're all the lakes are interconnected with streams and all that stuff. So all the water is going directly into the lakes from the
Wow.
sewers and from the creeks and everything.
You got
But
right. The
anyhow,
sewer
back to the
water.
show.
Oh, yeah. Back to the ball
Yeah, but
game.
what were you saying, PvP?
I was just
What
gonna
were you
say
gonna
back.
say?
No, I was gonna say this. I hope the sewer water's treated well before it goes into the lake.
No, not my town.
It's like, it's like yuck.
No, but I'm talking about the street drains and everything else. The
Okay.
sewers, the sewer stuff, all sewer stuff goes into the treatment plant, but I'm not sure about the street gutters. But
Yeah.
anyhow,
Yeah. Anyway.
we're 30 minutes in. We better start talking about the show.
Yeah.
All right, now back to the assessment here, and I'll make this quick. I want to try to abbreviate as much as I can. So when they were talking about Al Lewis and his comedic timing with Greg Wynn, it mentions here his interaction when in two shots with Jonathan Harris is pure comedic timing perfection. The story has to do with magic, and Rocket to Earth certainly has many moments that can best be described as magical. The greatest magic has to do with theme, when a writer has something to say and uses his story and its characters to communicate the message, and that message is received and resonates through the audience. The theme here has to do with how Dr. Smith, whether he wins or loses, is a tragic character. Marine says it. Poor Dr. Smith, he just don't understand what moral integrity is. How right to describe them as poor, and Rocket to Earth is all the richer for it. So the script wise, this is production number 9522. Barney Slater, it's written by Barney Slater. He turned in his first draft on November 7th of 1966. And it was his 16th script for Lost in Space. Slater's two and the quarter-page springboard contained elements that would eventually be split into two separate stories. Slater wrote, well, I'm not going to read it all, it's long, because basically what he's saying is this eventually became two stories, and that he wrote separately, and then he had to combine them back into one. Because basically you have the story of Dr. Smith with the magician, and the magician wanting to do his thing with the advertisement. And then the second part of the story was obviously is Dr. Smith basically, I'm trying to abbreviate all this. If you guys notice, Dr. Smith usually does a lot more backstabbing and deceit and cheating of the family, but he doesn't do so much as well here. And here, he's the one that's actually being deceived and cheated by the magician, which he doesn't really realize. So it's supposed to be the trip between Earth and where they are now. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused and ahead of myself. But one story is the trip to Earth, because obviously that's the title of the episode. But obviously, the relationship between Smith and the magician. I believe it's Zoltan.
Zalto. Zalto is what I have here.
Thank you, and I believe you, Zalto. Zalto.
Zalto, not Zathras, because nobody listens to Paul Zathras.
No, you're right about
All
that.
right.
All right. Now let's go ahead and start with talking about the episode. So we have where we left off last week. They were playing baseball. They were having a great time, and suddenly we have somebody appear, a man who seemed to be in what would be a wizard's or a magician's garb, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And it's a very short intro because, as you guys noticed, it he catches the ball or he picks up the ball and he laughs, and then it says to be continued next week. So this is one of the shorter intros that we get in the series. Sometimes they're longer, but I would bring this up as one of the shortest intros that we get, or cliffhangers.
Yeah. Now, who do you guys think would makes it better? The robots here, or Odo from and Take Me Out to the Hollow Suite?
Oh, I go for the robot because he was, ready to eject Smith from the game. So I thought that was really good because I approved of that. So
Well,
Yeah,
Odo
both of
ejected
them.
Tito.
Yeah, Odo ejected Cisco, and yeah, right.
And,
So
and the
because he was
Romulan
following
commander.
the rules. Again,
I,
following the rules because the Romulan commander was way too emotional. And so he also touched the Empire improperly.
oh boy.
And
Yeah,
the thing is that both Odo and the robot both have prejudices. The robot has one against Smith, and Odo has one against Quark. But I think they both make really good umpires because you just input you. The robot has all the information of being a umpire, infinite amount. Not infinite, but enough. And Odo actually studied, so it's a tough call.
yeah. I'd have to
Yeah.
rewatch the DS9
Oh,
episode because I haven't seen it in years. But I just like, I love it when the robot is kind of like, giving a bit back to Smith. Because let's face it, I mean, how many times is Smith calling him a bumbling booby or whatever? Poor robot. So I
yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, you put that in the Empire. And thank you for subscribing there, Chemistry. Yes. Thanks for the sub.
Chemistry,
Oh, hello, and
yes.
thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, you come to the right
And
place. If you
and
like,
sorry,
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, sorry, no, keep going, keep going.
I was going to say, if you like classic shows, movies, sitcoms, Star Trek, Lost in Space, Gilligan's Island, all that stuff, you come to the right place. And I want to thank you for subbing to the channel. Please spread the word if you get the chance and let everybody know. Sorry, there you go, Gorilla. Thank you.
Yeah, and welcome Pickles there. Yeah, also known as LDG. So good evening, folks, and
Hello.
evening, Pop.
Hello, LDG.
yeah,
Hello, hello. Good to see you. Hope
All
you're
right,
doing well.
yeah. Hi, LDG.
all right, we're all caught up.
Okay, Jill, give me just a moment. I'm gonna show something here. So I'm gonna cover up your slides just for a moment.
Okay, we're just at the part where the robot also cannot sense the magician.
That's because the magician
So
put the whammy on him, didn't he? Just a second before.
yeah, he somehow
Yes.
has cloaking technology or something, but they don't say technology. It's just magic.
And here's where we
Hey, man.
have, obviously. So for those of you out there who are not in the know, the guy playing Zolto is played by Al Lewis, and this is his most famous character as Grandpa in the Munsters. So you definitely can't refer to Al Lewis without showing Grandpa from the Munsters. Oh, I loved that character when I was a kid. Well, I still do.
Yeah, I thought he was
And
a
there,
very cool grandpa.
he was like the grandpa that would let you stay up late at night when your parents tell you got to go to bed at 8 or 9 p.m. He'd be the type of grandpa that you stay up later than that and not tell anybody.
Yep.
So here we have the robot, and okay. And oh, as a reminder to everybody here, and also for those of you if you're new, we can't cover the whole episode or we will get copyright stricken. So we're not allowed to show videos and things like that because YouTube will come after me and they will shut down my stream. So we're only allowed to do slides of so many few seconds and read some of the dialogue. But we've got to be very, very careful on what we show here. So that's the reason
Well,
why.
yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead,
and
Jill.
also, I started getting in trouble for slides too. So ever since I started getting copyright claims for that,
Yes.
I put these watermarks on here. So Eric's from Star Trek the animated series keeps us safe.
Yes, thank you. And I'm glad you remember that too. She also, where even the slides, you got to be careful because they're so nitpicking. And I've got to, There we go. That's why I have my overlay here to try to help prevent us getting copyright warnings. I don't know if this helps or not, but I figure, oh well, but might as well try, right? So here we have Zalto, right? And as you guys said, they've established that for some reason Dr. Smith can see him, but not Penny or Will or the robot yet. And as you notice, I did, by the way, I've seen this episode before, growing up off and on over the years. This is the first time that I noticed. You guys are probably going to say, duh. But this is the first time I noticed that the puppet actually looks like Al Lewis. So I'm glad that when they sculpted the face of that puppet, they went to the effort of trying to make it look like him. And I think that's really cool. I don't know, did you guys notice?
I just seen a puppet there. I wasn't even paying to watch the puppet really.
Well,
No?
I did think the beard, the beard being the same shape, kind of, did kind of have a similarity to Al Lewis. So yeah, I
Don't feel
kind of
too
got.
bad. I really didn't. I just wondered if the ventriloquist dummy was also voiced by Al Lewis. Do you know?
Oh, good
But
question.
I don't. I know he's definitely not doing it live on stage in front of the camera. That's for sure. And I was reading the chapter on the in this a chapter about this episode in the book prior to watching this, but I haven't finished the whole chapter to see if it is Al Lewis doing the voice or not. But I'm gonna try to spot that while we cover the episode through tonight's um, show. I'll try to find if he did the voice or not. Because I was wondering that too, Jill, so it's a very good question. Al Lewis,
Dr.
by the
Smith?
way, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go first. I want to hear
Al
about all
Lewis,
this.
Al Lewis was 43 when he played Zalto the Magician. He had been making the rounds for several years and live TV broadcasts out of New York, including several appearances on The Phil Silvers Show and Naked City. When cast as the third man in the sitcom Car 54, Where Are You? That's a comedy show about police in New York, by the way, guys. If you're young and you're not really sure what we're talking about, it was a comedy car show that centered around a police station in New York.
And that had Fred Gwynn in it as well, didn't it, Pop?
Fred, it had Fred Gwynn as Officer Francis Muldoon. Al Lewis played Officer Leo Schnauzer. I moved to Hollywood to play. So he moved to Hollywood to play Grandpa. So he was based and working out of New York when he did Car 54, Where Are You? And then obviously him and Fred Gwynn were both offered the roles in the Munsters at the same time because when they wrote the Munsters, they recognized those two and their talent, and they recognized, couldn't think of genius. If you ever see the old show, Car 54, Where Are You? You could see the chemistry between those two. And so you could tell that whoever made the Munsters, the makers, saw that chemistry and said they would be perfect together in the Munsters. So they cast them both together as the Munsters, and then they both made the move out to LA to shoot the Munsters, and that's what took them to LA. Apparently, his career was riding high. Uh, and here's something that upsets me. I'm not surprised, but it upsets me. Okay, moved to Hollywood to play Grandpa Munster, which included 2 seasons on CBS, followed by the 1966 movie Munster Go Home. The Munsters was riding high for its 1964-65 season on CBS Thursday nights, a frequent top 10 entry It began the 65-66 season off that way as well. So it was doing excellent in the ratings. We're talking about the Munsters. Excellent in the ratings. But in January 1966, ABC programmed Batman against it, and the audience members dropped. Rather than move the series to a different time or waiting for Batman to burn out, CBS gave the Munsters the boot. So that's why we lost the Munsters, was because another show that fell to the wayside because of Batman.
It's that dreaded Batman effect, isn't it, Pop?
It is. It
That
affected so much then.
I know. I never realized how many shows it hurt, but a lot of shows suffered. A lot of really good shows suffered because of Batman. Unfortunately,
It
yeah.
did. And like they said here, they could have either moved the Munsters to a different time or just waited to see what happened with Batman to see if it burned out. But no,
Hmm.
they just canceled the Munsters.
Yeah, they should have moved it or something to another night. Like, gosh.
Rocket to Earth, this episode here, was Lewis's first TV job after the demise of the Munsters. He was paid $1,500 for his work in this episode. Here we go. More info on the dummy. And
Hmm.
then there was a dummy, Mike Clark, said Zalto's dummy was actually a toy version of Jerry Mahoney, sold by the Gerald Novelty Company at outlets such as the Sears catalog. The Fox Pop department smeared some kind of clay or plasticine to disguise the Jerry character. They also added lights in the head to illuminate the eyes. I myself am a major Paul Winchell fan and own over 25 of those Juro Jerrys. That's interesting. As for the voice of the dummy, Bob May, who played the robot, who played but was passed over for providing the voice of the. Wait a minute, am I reading this right? Bear with me, guys. It might be a typo. As for the voice of the dummy, colon, Bob May, who played the robot but was passed over for providing the voice of the robot, finally got his chance to be heard and lost his space. Oh, I see. Oh, so what it's saying is
The
Bob,
guy who's in the robot suit whose voice we don't hear, we do hear as this dummy.
as the right, he's passed. So when I was saying that he passed over as a robot, I'm like, what? He was passed over as far as doing the voice of the robot. Obviously, Bob May was in the robot, acting it, playing it, moving it, but they used Dick Tufield's voice instead. Obviously, the narrator of the show. But what it's saying here is he got his first. He was actually as accepted was his role as the voice of the dummy. So that's interesting to know. I had not known that when I was young. So if you're wondering out there, everybody, that's who's playing the voice of the dummy is Bob May, the guy who's acting out in the robot, if that makes sense.
It does. Very cool info.
And excuse me, the man interviewed Bob May about this. He said, when Irwin Allen approached me for the voice of Zalto's puppet in the episode of Rocket to Earth, I was a little stumped. Irwin asked me what type of voice I was going to use. After thinking about it for a bit, I decided I would use the voice of Jerry Lewis from the movie The Nutty Professor. So that was Bob May's impersonation of Jerry Lewis from The Nutty Professor. In Rocket to Earth, I had to do a scene where the puppet talked, and so did the robot. How did I do this? I was in a pretzel formation in this big vase placed on the set in this scene. In my hand, I had what was called an outside button, which is sort of a remote control which operated the lights when the robot spoke. I also did the voice of the puppet at the same time from inside this giant vase. I didn't know that. As usual, Billy Mooney, Jonathan Harris, and Bob May were needed on the set for 6 days each. Bob Mark Goddard, 5 days. Guy Williams, June Lockhart, and Al Lewis were needed for 4 days each. Marta Chris, of course, here we go. And then the rest. Marta Christian and Angela Cartwright were each on set for only 2 days. There. Sorry about that, getting off track so much, guys.
That's not off track. That's good information.
So now we can cover this episode. Yes, and I'm glad we know that because that's a lot of what I was wondering while watching this.
Well, that was my biggest question.
Well,
And
yeah,
so
it's good to get background information like that, Pop, because I didn't know any of that. The stuff about the dummy or any of that. So that's great to know. I mean,
all I knew is that it's
know.
it's just weird that that Dr. Smith, he's he knows some electrical engineering. He's some kind of he's got some kind of PhD, and yet he's forgotten how to count.
I know. Well, at one point, Zalto uh, calls him professor. There's a couple of points where he calls him professor, and I thought that was interesting.
It was. Where does that come from?
It was. I know.
Just
We'll
a
get
mistake.
to it. We'll get to it. It's the scenes where Zalto was basically giving him examples of his work, showing off his stuff, and they were failing. Each of the acts were failing, and Dr. Smith was basically saying "bah humbug" to the whole thing, and then
Wow.
Zalto was saying "professor."
Professor forgot mixed up his height with his weight.
That's always possible.
No, it's right here. My height is 175 pounds and my weight is 5'11". Is Dr. Smith.
Yeah, I think that is supposed to be. Yeah, you're right. I think it's a mistake.
No, it's not a mistake. He's supposed to be crazy. Like, this is his descent into madness. Because only he can
True.
see the magician and the dummy. And so he's going bonkers. But in order to go bonkers, he's completely forgetting everything. I don't know.
Yes.
Kind of like a brain, like he's got major brain damage.
Breakdown. Yeah, and it's breaking down, right?
Yeah, he's lost all sense of reality. I love that clip there, Jill. By the way, with the kids, that's great.
Oh.
they're like, what the heck is he on about now? It's like, oh
Well,
man.
later on, he forgets his own name.
Yes, he does.
I'd like that they put the eyes and light in the eyes because that makes him extra creepy. The dummy.
I like they
That's
did
true.
do the Al Lewis beard on the dummy though, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, you can tell when they do when they show the close-ups of the dummy.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell a little bit more that it's supposed to look like Al Lewis. And he randomly just disappears. And we get our title shot, rocket to Earth.
Everyone can teleport or transport except for the Robinsons. That's a rule of Lost in Space, I've noticed.
Yeah, I know. Right, and they can teleport at ease, like it's very simple. And they do it all the time. But they never seem to, it's like Gilligan's Island, they never seem to help them get out of there, right?
Yeah, especially this guy. This guy, he's got the fastest spaceship of anyone ever.
Yes. Well, man, I give them credit for that because we've seen some of the prior episodes over the last few weeks where the spaceships were kind of shoddy. I mean, some of them didn't even have any windows. And some of them had plants for windows and so on. But at least here, Zalto has a pretty good spaceship.
Yeah, right. There's no holes in it exposed to the vacuum of space. You got to give him that.
Yes, and they use the prop of the old. Well, we've seen it in this episode. We've seen it in Lost in Space before. So it's not the first time that prop
ship
showed
did
up.
look familiar. You're right. I didn't think about that.
Once we get to the ship actually flying, it gets very familiar.
Well, they show
we don't.
The first time it was shown, because remember it was borrowed from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, There they used it as a sea diving capsule. But the first appearance on Lost in Space was Will, when Will, that episode from season one, remember guys, where he used up the last of their fuel and he was sending up experiments with a balloon and it exploded and it come crashing to Earth. And they decided to why not use the ship's reactor to make a small ship go to Earth like a raft. The raft. That's it. The episode, the raft. So
It
that
was a
was the
really great
first.
episode, and you have a really good memory of props.
Well, I don't know. I charge you. I do make mistakes, but I love seeing props reused. I don't know. Just like I said, I'm a fan of seeing people return and trivia like that, background things. But I'm also a fan of silly things like props and background material. Same with Star Trek. When props and stuff like that show up, I love it. I don't. I don't look down on it for that at all. Quite the opposite. I love it when the shows do that. Anyway, enough of that. Enough
And if
about
they know
me.
how to spend their money wisely, then they can do more, and so it just shows, intelligent production.
It does. Yes, it does.
Okay, so this is the only thing I'll say, the ladies don't get a lot, but at least they get the part where they're doing, systems checks all over the ship, so that's fun for, like, a couple minutes.
Well, and
That's
right, the thing, and
I love
Judy
it.
even right, and Judy even had a smart aleck remark when she said, "At least it's not like was it cleaning or something like." She did have a remark that they were doing something sophisticated because
Yeah,
when the men
exactly.
come in, right, when the men come in, they're kind of joking with them about what because I got to go back. June says, "Sorry, dinner's not ready yet. We didn't know you were going to be back." And they're like, "Oh, dinner should be ready for us space croppers or whatever it is." And so they've kind of poking fun at her, but not really without poking too much fun at her.
Yeah,
They
that
even
didn't
said,
bother me too much, it was obvious it was just a joke.
just a joke, right? And I'm trying to remember the words that Don used, but it was something along the lines of a space crop. It was something silly. It was like something they would write for a Western. But anyway, enough about that. Don't want to go off on too much of a tangent. So they're saying that Dr. Smith is ill, and Don, of course, is joking about it. His eyes are shut. He's always had his eyes shut. And
Yes, because he's always napping.
right,
I
so how
like
can he
that
tell?
sign. I like that sign about him having lunch though. Like he must be okay if he's still eating.
Right, that's like a thermometer for Dr. Smith. If you're ever wondering how Dr. Smith is doing, is just ask, is he eating? Well, he had double portions, but he's doing fine. Because that's one thing that Dr. Smith rarely ever does is go without eating, obviously. And Don says right in front of him that he's a nuttier than a fruitcake. And of course, Dr. Smith doesn't take to that too kindly. And Dr. Smith, Don tells him that he shouldn't be wearing those blackout glasses. But Dr. Smith figures as long as he wears those glasses, that he won't see the magician. But you notice that the magician does wait until Dr. Smith takes off the glasses before he appears. So Dr. Smith takes them off momentarily, and as soon as he does, Zolto, I keep saying Zolton, but as soon as he takes off the
No.
glasses, Zolto appears with the dummy.
Yeah, I wondered if the glasses actually were having some effect at keeping him away, right? But that's never actually, they don't go into it at all.
I think yeah, they don't say specifically, but I think they did have a difference because they're making it sound like time passed. He's been on the ship all this time with those glasses on, and he has not seen Zolto the whole time. It wasn't until now on the ship when he took off the glasses does also appear.
The only way it would really have a difference is if he also had earplugs. Excuse me.
Earplugs, that's true too. Earplugs, that way you wouldn't be able to hear him. Because as it stands right now, he can, sure, he can block him out visually with the glasses, but if Dr. Smith did not have earplugs, he could hear him. And that way he could still torment him, saying, I can still talk, you can still hear me. Unless you plug your ears or something, I guess. Jill, excuse me. Gorilla, how are we doing with the chat?
Oh, we're all caught up.
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
But in this scene here, he actually calls him Zalto there, but I don't think Zalto's mentioned his name yet.
I was going to say that too. I was going to say,
Yes.
so,
That's
right,
the
it
first
wasn't-
thing I noticed. It was just the weirdest. It came out of nowhere where he just started saying Zalto. I just thought it was part of his insanity. Until
Yeah,
it turned
because-
out that really was his name.
Yeah, because when Zalto first appeared, when they were playing baseball outside, I don't remember him saying his name then. So,
He didn't. He didn't. I checked the script to be sure.
right, exactly. I guess that's something they wouldn't have thought we wouldn't. Another, no, they're not going to think about it. The hole in the plot, which we've grown accustomed to. And meanwhile, on the outside of the ship, we have Professor Robinson and Don welding some equipment, and apparently they're repairing the chariot. So this device here is that, in fact, Professor Robinson's even complaining, saying that the parts are getting old for the chariot. And then Don would say, well, would you like to have a new model? And Professor says, oh, sure, we could just order it. They're just joking, of course.
Yeah, cash your credit.
That was good. That was a good line. Yeah. We'll just order
Did
one.
they even have credit cards back then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought that started in the 80s.
Oh,
I think
no.
I think it started in the 60s at least, did it not, Pop?
Oh, no. Here's a quick little background, you guys. San Francisco earthquake. It was either 1906 or 1916.
Oh,
I
06.
can't remember.
Oh, 06.
06? Thank you. Okay, when the 1906 earthquake hit in San Francisco, everybody was devastated. But what got the city back on its feet was Bank of America put out tables on all the corners. They had a man with a piece of paper and a table, and they were handing out credit cards left and right. So they were acting like they were heroes and like angels saving the city. But the problem and that, of course, not surprising, the interest was extremely high. And yeah, it pulled some people. Some people were able to get homes and pull them out of debt, but unfortunately, it bankrupted a lot of people as well. And that's why to this day, I'm not a fan of Bank of America. I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, it's nice. They didn't have to do that, and they were helping all the poor innocent people. But it was extremely high interest rates, which is what I don't like. That I think they took advantage of people. I mean, it's fine, yeah, offering credit cards, they need help, yes. And this was even before the Great Depression, remember that. So basically, no, credit cards have been around. I haven't looked up exactly how long, but I can tell you that at least since then.
All right. We got two chats here. Scurvy here says Smith wears his sunglasses at night.
Yes, he does.
They says the modern credit card emerged in the 1950s. And credit cards are indeed a double-edged sword. They used to push them on young adults just starting out. Not sure if they still do.
Oh
And
yes,
Well,
they
they
do.
still do.
They
They
do.
still
Those.
do, at least as of the, you know, early 2000s. You get a free pizza and you get a credit card. And so you just rack up credit cards and pizza.
yeah. See, I never fell for that trap.
Sometimes it was a tote bag or a t-shirt.
I think you fell for that, Jill.
Mm. Um, only I put the wrong name on the credit card sign up sheet, and it seemed to work. So I got some free pizza.
So you performed credit card fraud. Okay. you
What? Well, they were
said
gonna
you.
perform, theft on my innocence, so I win.
All right, that's all. Oh, they just said. Screwy says I'm no longer a young adult. All right, we're all caught up on chats.
Great. And yeah, they're doing work on the chariot, but we don't actually get to see the chariot. It was teasing.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're working on the chariot with the welding equipment. That's fun. Makeshift parts. Oh, that's why we don't get to see the chariot. It's gonna happen in the morning.
all right.
And Smith is finally realizing that he's insane. Except, of course, he's only being driven insane by the wizard who is making him think that he's hallucinating. So Smith thinks he's hallucinating, and that actually is causing psychological issues. If he can't count anymore, and he's mixing things up, he's having a problem. I don't actually, guys. I don't know what happened to Pop Culture Curator, but we're going to soldier on as well as we can without his glorious depictions and reading from the Mark Cushman book and all of the things that he adds to it and the great production things that he always notices. But I'm sure he'll be back soon.
Yeah. Oh, he must have dropped out because of the internet there. And welcome, Boomer.
Yeah, the internet. Oh, that's right. Sometimes he has internet issues.
Yeah, he's
So,
had that for what 2 or 3 weeks now, I think, hasn't he, guys? Like, yeah.
yeah, that's true. It's been an issue, an ongoing issue. But here, this kind of reminds me of Data. You know, when Data used to paint, the robot is starting to get artistic. He's doing poetry. Humpty Dumpty was 2 inches tall. He fell down and broke his shell. Wait, is that the whole thing? Let me see.
I think
So
there's
yeah,
one
it's
more
something like
line.
that.
One more line, I think, after that one.
Yeah. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty was 2 inches tall. He fell down and broke his shell. Poor little egg. I
That
wish
was
him
it.
well.
Yeah, poor little egg. I wish him well. Yeah. That was actually not a
Yeah.
bad little poem for the
Pop,
rope.
yeah, Pop just messaged me. He lost his internet. He'll be back as soon as he can. Continue without him.
We have, unfortunately, but he will be back as soon as he possibly can. So, I love the robot. So I love interjections where he's just exploring himself.
I gotta say, the robot, the way he twisted his arms there in that previous still, Jill, that was wow. That was even kind of more extreme than usual for the robot. You know.
Yeah, that was definitely a position I haven't seen before. I agree.
Yeah, he's definitely growing in many ways. He's growing his personality. He's growing his arm movements. It's like wow.
Hey, and welcome back,
Hey,
Pop.
hi Pop.
Hey, you're back. You didn't miss anything at all, really. Just Humpty Dumpty.
Oh. Scriver says, but yeah, Pop points out that in some form or another, it's been around a long time. Yes, it is. And Boomer says, howdy.
Hey, Boomer.
And Jill, you want to read this one?
Jill is seizing power.
The power, my riches.
Sorry, my internet dropped out for a minute, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
good.
okay, Pop.
I'm sure you noticed.
All right, it's all the chats there.
We did, but we didn't get too far. The only thing that happened between when you dropped out and now is that the robot told a poem about Humpty Dumpty. So that's
No,
about all you missed.
that's fine. I was trying to message you on Twitter to continue without me. Yeah, don't. Yeah, if I drop out like that, just assume that's my. I can, because as you guys have learned, my internet is really crappy in this area. So if it drops out, just assume that that's what happened. That my internet's down, and continue the show without me. You don't have to delay or stall or anything.
We
And
didn't
then
at
I'll just
all.
I'll
There
just
We
was
catch
got
a
up
up when
to
I
the
get.
cave.
No, but there was a
No,
message
that's
that came through.
good.
I think Pop actually, so we're good. We figured what happened. Like I think did Gorilla get a message or somebody got a message?
Yeah, I got
Gorilla
I
got the
got
message.
Yeah, it was Gorilla.
I
Yeah,
missed mine because I turn off the sounds.
Me too.
yeah. So
So I
it's
would
all
have missed it.
it's all good, Pop. We
Thank
knew what
you.
was happening there.
Right. And on the other hand, when you guys did continue without me, I want to thank you for doing that too. Yeah. So good job not waiting for me.
All right.
Thank you. We'll roll out the red carpet for you now, though, as this as the magician is, or Dr. Smith.
And just in time here. Okay. Yeah. Here's where they enter the cave. That's right.
Did this cave look a bit familiar, like maybe from the My Friend Mr. Nobody episode from season one? Like I there's something about it that seemed a bit familiar. I don't know. I could be totally off base, but
Well, chances are it's the same cave every time. The only thing that changes is the entrance and the exit looks different.
yeah.
Like in my friend Mr. Nobody, they were looking from above. There was a cracks in the rocks. They were looking down below into the cave. And then we have these episodes here where they either enter from stage left or from stage right, and they have a rock that's covering the door in some way or another. But yeah,
Hmm.
definitely, it's usually the same cave.
Yeah, because I
And
remember the
they
way
do
that
it's like you're looking.
I was just going to say the way the
Go
door
ahead.
opened in this episode reminded me of Nobody, because the door kind of opened like in a similar way. So I guess it just reminded me of
We've
that
seen
doorway.
we've seen that door a couple times.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
you did.
cannot remember which episodes, but they've reused that door that effect.
Not
Several,
surprising. Yeah. Yeah.
several, and it's the same as like Gilligan's Island. Is they had different caves on the island, but I think whenever that we get an episode with a cave, they just rearrange the rocks a little different. Sometimes you say, oh yeah, that's definitely the cave from this other episode, but when it all comes down to it, they're all in the same studio in the same set, and they just
Hmm.
rearrange the rocks. If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
like when Star Trek used to, have scenes where they're going through a tunnel or with rocks. Often you could tell they were just moving them around, right, rearranging stuff.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Right, exactly.
Once again, Doctor Smith using Will as a shield.
No, no hesitation there, right?
Really?
And of course, this is where the writers said, because remember up to this point is only Dr. Smith can see Zalto. But this is really fun. I said, "Oh, forget it," and they said everybody now everybody can see Zalto's They got rid of that. So that kind of helped to pick up the pacing on the episode, I guess. It was kind of silly and it was unnecessary.
Well, I think another reason they probably did that is because, if the Robinsons couldn't see him, if Will couldn't see him, if the robot couldn't pick him up on the sensors, then they actually probably would just continue to think that Smith was, going nuts kind of thing, right? So, they
Exactly.
had to kind of flip it, right, Pop? Yeah.
Right. If they want the plot to move along, then they're going to have to right make it to where drop the crazy Smith routine, right? Pretty much.
Mm,
Not
yeah.
completely, because later on he gets to where he's having that breakdown and he forgets his own name and stuff. So they don't get rid of it completely, but they do some.
Mm. Yeah, they kind of modified it, I guess. Kind of.
Okay, so when they come in now, they find out that I don't know. I guess we can go on to the next slide.
Uh, yeah, Jill's away, so I don't know if anybody else can move the slides. But
Oh
Jill,
no, she can't. And Gorilla, you said we're caught up with the chat, right? Let's see if I can find something from the book here. One way or another, we'll figure out something here. The target budget for each episode was $159,497. That's what 20th Century Fox wanted. Urban Allen's staff was able to shave this one down to $155,973. So saved them almost $4,000. That's not bad. Production began on Monday, December 12th, 1966, for the first 2 days on Stage 11. Here, I'll find something here. Because now what it does is it breaks down each and every day and every single thing of what they do, what time of day, and all that stuff. And we don't need to see all hear all that. Jonathan Harris said in an interview, I remember that I enjoyed working with Al Lewis on this episode. During the shoot, Don Richardson, the director, discovered that the script was 5 minutes short. Yes, and I'm going to show which scene he's talking about, by the way. They discovered the script was 5 minutes short. Yes, Al Lewis and me, if we could improvise and ad lib the minutes. Al and I resurrected an old burlesque bit. Up the ladder, down the ladder bit. You first, the bit used to be you first, Alphonse. No, you first, Gaston. We had a marvelous time with it, much laughter and applause from the crew and great fun for us. Interviewed for the radio program One Cow's Morning Madness and happily reunited with Al Lewis, jovial John Lewis exclaimed, "Oh God, it was one of the best ones we ever did." Al Lewis said, "Yes, we did our old hesitation waltz." And Harris says, "I remember our producer said, we need 5 minutes." And Lewis said, "Yeah, we need 5 minutes." I said, "Boy, are you crazy? We'll get a writer." Harris said, "Irwin Allen was a very complex man. Gave me carte blanche to do anything I wanted. First and only time in my career, and I did enjoy it." Well, did I enjoy it? Oh, yes. Yes, yes, Jonathan, says Lewis. One thing you have to understand is when you and I got the script, it was a piece of paper with words on it, and you and I built the character from the ground up. And Harris said, "Absolutely." And Lewis said, "It wasn't the jokes that were written for us." And Harris, "No, we did the jokes." And Lewis says, "That's right, that's right." And Harris says, "Experience counts, believe me. If you haven't got it, you aren't as good as we were." I'm hoping my internet stays up. Are you guys still there? Am I alive?
Yeah, I'm here.
yeah, you're good here, Pop. I was just muting
Okay.
just to listen to what you were reading there. Yeah,
Uh,
you sound great actually.
I just
You
want to make sure I didn't
sound
want to
clear.
bore you guys. I don't want to go. I didn't know if I was going off on a tangent. My internet was dead, or what. I just want to make sure you guys are still there.
Oh yeah, we're here. Yeah, we're just waiting for Jill to get done with probably looking after the kids or whatever. So I'm sure she'll be back as soon as she can. So
Yeah. Oh
uh,
yeah, she will.
so good to fill in some things. Hey, by the way, we are getting through season 2. We've only got like 9 episodes left of the second season now, don't we?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 3. I really am. Actually, there's a couple of really great episodes near the end of this season though that I've actually really enjoyed. There's the trip through the robot. That's one of my favorites of the season actually. And then there's the
Oh,
mechanical man. That's another one about the robot which I love. So there's some good ones
more
coming up
robot
here.
episodes. That's a good idea.
We got 2
I'm
really
happy with
great
that.
robot episodes, Joe. Like, yeah, I think I I have a hunch that you're going to rate those ones pretty up, higher than a lot of the ones lately.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to step away for so long. My daughter needed batteries for her walkie-talkies, and there were
Oh,
no batteries, and I had to find. We have some rechargeables,
Oh
so I had to keep sticking them.
wow.
I had to use the multimeter to see which ones had some charge.
Mm,
yes, that's
yeah,
fine, Joe. It's no problem.
the old voltmeter. Yeah.
Yep, yep. But we're
Anyway,
good now. I found some.
oh, that dummy really is kind of creepy, isn't he?
He is. He is. He kind of
I
brings
guess he
a
probably really spooked
horror
you.
element. Yeah, he brings a horror kind of element to it. And there was like a
Yeah, I
psychological
guess
horror
it's one of the
happening.
clowns. I see. True. Okay, bear with me, guys.
Sound better now.
Okay, yeah. What I was trying to do is I sent a photo. There's a behind-the-scenes production photo in this book that I wanted to share with you guys. And I personally am a Gmail user because I've been using Gmail for years, and it works. But I don't know why, but they made some deal with Microsoft over to Outlook and installed Outlook on my computer. And Outlook is terrible and it won't work. It makes it almost impossible to open up any of my photos or anything,
So
especially anything that's
uninstall
enclosed.
Outlook.
I did. I installed it,
That's
uninstalled it, and it reinstalled it.
what?
What? Well, it sounds like Microsoft, eh? Because have you guys noticed Microsoft? They keep putting little things at the bottom of the screen, like updates on the news or, all kinds of weird
Yeah,
stuff I
and
don't want.
they're difficult to get rid of. You can get rid of them, but it's not like you can't just like right click and escape. You've got to perform a series of steps in order to remove them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it even said, "Are
Yeah.
you sure you want to get rid of it?" And I said, "Absolutely, yes, yes, yes." I was about, I was back on Gmail. Everything was fine. Then the very next time I checked my mail, it did it again.
That's one reason I personally don't use Gmail. I use an online service called Proton Mail, proton.com or whatever. They're based
Yeah,
in Switzerland.
that's
So they're very high on
an
security.
old,
Like they encrypt
it's an
every
old.
email that you send. Eh?
It's been,
What was that, Pop? I didn't hear you. You cut out there. But I've
yeah,
had
that's
them
yeah.
for
That
a few
company's been
years
around for a
now.
long time.
Yeah, they work. I only got them because I did a lot of research on email, companies, and they were like top
Uh,
rated, and so I've had nothing but great luck with them so far. They've been really good. They encrypt everything that goes in and out, and yeah, I think they're a really good company. So I'm happy with them.
So you've got to figure out a way to get Outlook to stop reinstalling itself.
yeah,
You'd probably have to get
Yeah,
into the registry.
That's weird. It must be something to do with Gmail because I don't have Outlook on my computer at all here. Since I got it like 4 or 5 years ago. But I do have a Gmail, but I don't use it. So maybe that's why it doesn't want to update me and send me Outlook stuff. I don't know.
Well, well, what I'm confused about the most is Google is Gmail, and our competitor of Microsoft. So why would Google be promoting Outlook? I'm not even able to download the damn picture. But anyway, go ahead, guys. Why don't you guys continue talking about this while I work on the email really quick?
Okay.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
he's not talking about any kind of technology that lets him do the magic, but the spirit. He's asking the spirit to obey his command.
I thought it was nice that they
Oh.
put the, like, what do they call this? The old Indian rope trick or whatever with the, it's like
Yes.
the snake, the rope snake. I thought this was pretty funny. I really
That's cute.
enjoyed this thing. Yeah, it was fun. And then it didn't work. It's like, oh.
It kind of worked. It just worked a little too fast. Mm. Yeah, so there's the puppet. Well, he said he threatens to turn them into frogs, but spoiler alert, he cannot do so.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a crappy musician there.
I didn't think he was that much of a not musician, magician. I didn't find him that threatening overall. Like he was tormenting Smith, but it didn't seem like he was actually very menacing to me when I watched the episode. He was almost kind of, weirdly lovable in his own eccentric way, right? But that's just my take on it, I guess.
And here, let's catch up on chats real quick.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Kirby says,
Yeah, if I can't get that picture, we'll just keep on going.
Okay. Scurvy says, the precious. And PvP, you want to read this one? It's a Lord of the Rings joke. I said something earlier.
Lemon.
I don't know. I don't know. I never saw Lord of the Rings.
Anyway, Lemon's making a funny here.
I have to step away for my daughter again. I will be back.
Go for it.
Okay. Anyway, Lemon Pie makes a joke about the concert I saw Friday night. How was the Dame Edna concert, PvP? Well, it was the Damned. It wasn't Dame Edna. Oh, brother. Lemon. I give you high marks for creativity.
It could be just a spell check there because I spell the damn wrong all the time.
It could be. Anyway, by the way, it was a fabulous concert. They were fantastic and played all their really popular songs. So yeah, it was great fun. Yeah, great concert.
And then Scurvy here says, sorry, that was off topic, but I said it while we waited for Jill's return.
That's okay, Scurvy. Or Lemon.
Sorry. You said something about this episode?
I'm sorry, what's that?
You said something about this still?
Let me zoom in. I gotta zoom in to see it. Oh, by the way, how do I highlight my limited optical materialization? Oh, yeah, he was asking what do you think about basically making something vanish and then disappear again. And it basically relates to the slides we saw just before this. Wish I can continue when the slides start, but I can't do it without the slides. But I'll do my best. But this is where Zalto is basically performing different tricks for them, trying to impress them. And needless to say, they're not very impressed. By the way, guys, if you have a way of viewing this on your own, I recommend get hard copies, get physical media, because don't trust streaming. They're editing out scenes every day. They're taking out more and more of every episode. Every time you watch it, they're shorter and shorter. So get physical media if you're able to find this show on DVD or Blu-ray and check it out on your own, because I know watching us review it like this, having to do slides doesn't really help the show much. And it kind of ruins it. And I don't want to ruin it for you guys. If anything, I want to try to introduce this to new people who've never seen it before and spark their interest in wanting to maybe just check it out sometime.
Well, I think the
Eh,
thing is, Pop, you have to do the balance, right? Because you don't want to get the copyright stuff happening. So, we do have to be careful. And the slides are, pretty much, what's allowed, thanks to Jill and doing her watermark stuff. So, it seems to be working okay. But obviously, it's obviously best if you watch the episodes, on your own. And I do have the DVD sets that I got years ago when they first came out, right? Like, gosh, this is what, 15, 20 years now? But I actually want to get the Blu-ray because there's probably more bonus features. So I'm thinking of getting the Blu-ray, and I need to get a Blu-ray player, which is why, because I don't have one. But yeah, I would say go for the hard copy. I am a firm believer in getting the hard copy media of anything you enjoy, right?
Right, exactly. Oh, here we go. Finally, why is it opening up with Outlook?
and welcome Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, Star Wars, MCU, and Doctor Who. And when's that going to get longer there, Matt? I'm
Yeah,
waiting for
we're
it to
we're
get longer yet.
we're
Who?
waiting. You need to add something more to the name.
Yeah, he says, just got back from the theater, saw Metropolis, lol.
Oh, I'm jealous. Wow, Metropolis on the big screen. Did it have
Wait,
an orchestra?
wait, wait, which Metropolis are you talking about? The original or the animated anime version?
I didn't know there was an
Uh,
animated
I'm
version.
not sure. I didn't know either.
Anime to be exact.
Yeah. And he goes, and Scurvy says it was not a misspelling. Then Scurvy, you're shocked they got to see it in the theater. Cool. Then he says, yeah, great. And it's the 1927.
Oh,
Wow.
good. Not only that though, is the one that's been fully restored. The one that we covered on my channel. That is amazing. Because I remember when we covered it on my channel last year, when I was looking it up, they said that next year that it was going to have a short day where it was going to premiere and show at the theaters for a few days. And I was wondering when that was going to be, and I guess I missed it. So I guess they're doing that now. So
Yeah, we
you
never.
were so lucky. I'm jealous. If you have any comments,
I'm
first
really
of all,
jealous.
right? Yeah, if you have anything to add, thing to tell us, please come on my Rumblings from the Lab stream Saturday. We encourage you to come on the panel and officially talk about it if you can. But if you can't come on the panel, at least maybe come in the chat. We'd
Yeah, that
love to
must
hear
have been
that.
amazing. I've always wanted to see Metropolis on a huge theater screen. That would be fantastic.
Definitely. And here is the photo I've been trying to add for 15 minutes. Finally got it.
Oh, oh, thank goodness. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh,
So that gives you a little bit of insight there to what it actually looks like. So that's what you can tell what they do is every week they just move around the props. So you can still see the sky and there's all the room up above where they can add the obviously the catwalk, all the workers, the lights, and everything.
Cool. I'm wondering
But
about
that
the
is it.
masks. Weren't the masks in an episode like 10 episodes back or something like that? Like,
Yes, yeah. These masks that you guys see here, right? In fact, there's like three or four of them. Yes, they have been in different masks. Almost all these props that we're looking at right now, at this point, have already been seen before.
hmm,
Because as Lost Space obviously progresses, they add new props as the show goes along. But it gets to where we're seeing them all over and over. Okay, stop sharing. Enough of that.
I gotta say though, I do admire the way they could reuse the props in a very creative way, so you wouldn't automatically notice that you'd seen something like maybe 2 months before. Like they were very
Oh, they
good at
do.
mixing it up.
Yeah, they do. They mix them up and they alter them. They change them. They add
Mm.
things to them or they paint them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh, by the way, I guess it's not technically a prop, but what do you guys think of Al Lewis's costume? I thought his costume was very cool and a lot of fun. I thought he looked great in this episode.
And I agree. And well, so does remember when we get our at the end or near the end in Act Three, Doctor Smith he has his own red wizard costume, which I thought was kind of cool. You can tell they're obviously by the same designer.
Oh yeah, that's right. Smith does get a costume, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Al
All
Lewis is.
right, Dr. Smith, the seer.
I was just gonna say, Al Lewis has an amazing face. There's just he has remarkably. He's kind of got a strange face, but it's cool. Like he's got a cool face, right?
Yeah.
There's
It's
some.
great for character for being a character actor. It's very memorable.
Yeah, there's something almost geometric about his chin or something. Maybe it's the beard. I don't know.
When here's the kids' word of the day word, legerdemain.
Wow,
It just means magic tricks.
that's cool that they put
Oh
that word
yes,
in.
yes, you're correct.
Boy, Jill, you really do your homework, don't you?
I always appreciate when there's a word I don't understand, and I'm not afraid to admit it that I don't
No,
understand it, and I learn it.
that's great. I didn't. I somehow I just flew past me, and I was just too busy watching the visuals, I guess, to pick up on the word. But that's cool.
Well,
Thanks.
right,
Mm,
and
you're welcome.
for us younger kids back in the day, it made you want to go look at the word. So we would say, "Oh, I need to remember that word," and then when I get to school, I'm going to look it up in the dictionary. And now you've got a computer right there. You hear any word that you're wondering, all you do is look it up, Google it, and then it
Well,
automatically
yeah,
tells you. So I like that it encouraged you to learn.
it's true. It's true. Well, I did that when I was reading when I was a kid too, was to look up stuff, and I actually had my own dictionary, but I also had. Eventually, I got an electronic dictionary. It's not the computer, but it was like a little handheld device,
Right. Uh huh.
Yeah,
and
cool.
that had Merriam-Webster in it, but also Hangman and some other games.
So, did you spend more time with a dictionary, or did you spend more time playing Hangman, Jill? Be honest.
Uh, Played the fifth on that one.
Okay.
But you learn words playing Hangman because it makes you type the word out.
Well,
I
that's true.
agree.
That's true. Yeah, I haven't
So,
played that game in a long time, but Hangman's kind of a fun game. It's simple, but it's fun.
so Jill, having a couple kids around the house, do you have a dictionary around the house, or you just let them just rely on the computer and autocorrect?
Um, well, I have a big dictionary that they don't use yet, but they have some kids' dictionaries that I try to get them to use it, but no. My son's like, "What? It's on the computer. What are you talking about?" So
Uh,
I kind of failed.
what are you
I
gonna do?
tried
Well, it's
though.
not your fault. It's not your fault, but yeah, it's unavoidable. But it's sad. It's a lost art. It's almost like an art. People are like, "What dictionary? What do you mean?" I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Dictionaries are cool. Like I was a terrible speller when I was young, even into my 20s. And then I started going to college and I had to write essays. And of course, if you're going to write essays, you got to get a dictionary or else you're going to sound like an idiot, right? So I had my little pocket, just paperback dictionary. And I used that thing for years and years all through college because I took a lot of courses. And by the end of, of my college years, the thing was literally falling apart. I'd used it that much. And I became an excellent speller. So I generally don't even need to look up a word now. I can just, spell it off the top of my head. So that's
Right,
one thing I learned is how to spell.
right. For exactly, that's me too. I love the two things that I love was dictionaries and thesauruses. And when
Oh
you
yeah.
learn, when you become a good reader and a good speller, with okay, people, for example, they come to me and say, "How do you spell this certain word?" They'll say a word, and it's a word that I had never actually spelled, but because has, I know how to spell and break up things into. And of course, now my mind draws a blank. Makes you sound like a fool. But
Oh,
learn
it just
a
happens.
syllable. No,
Well,
well,
sometimes
it's
you
just
have to break a word down into segments is what I'm
syllables.
thinking.
Syllables.
Syllables, that's it.
Right, that's the word I was lost on syllables. So everybody learns when you're young just to break a word into syllables. Not only does that help you learn how to spell it, but how to pronounce words.
Hmm.
So when people ask me how do you spell a word, and I have never spelled it before in my entire life, but I can spell it because I know how to break it into syllables. So I can use 90 to 95% of the time I can get it right. I was very good also at spelling bees. But anyway, that's all old fashioned
Yeah.
stuff. We don't need to hear about
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Well, yeah, because even in the 90s, I wasn't really using. I was still using my dictionary because I couldn't use too much internet, or else my mom would be mad that she can't use the phone, or I might use up all of the megabits because we were using the free internet.
Or,
But
Jill, do you remember America Online where you had to pay, on the phone where one person at a time and you had to pay for every minute and all that stuff?
yeah, exactly. That's kind of what we had. Well, we used net zero because it was free, but you could only
Oh,
have like a certain
yeah.
number of megabytes to download. So I couldn't use
Yes.
the internet until I decided to download too much music, and my mom finally bought the subscription. But before that, yeah, basically I learned how to spell like besides the dictionary,
Hmm.
Microsoft Word. So I could spell better ever since I was a kid with the keyboard rather than my brain, which is might be a progression of technology from that era. I mean,
Yes.
but I do know about syllables too.
Well, I know. I know. You know math like I know English. I'll put it that way.
Very nice. But
Yeah.
one thing I don't know is that this magician is trying to broadcast an advertisement of his name into the universe, but who's actually watching? It's very unclear to me.
Yeah, funny you mention that because I don't know if you guys remember this or if you know it or not, but Arnold Schwarzenegger made a movie in the 90s called The Last Action Hero. And it was a bomb, by the way. It was an expensive movie. I personally liked it because it was like the behind the scenes movie where it was a wink at the audience. The whole thing was a wink at the audience. It's
It
hard to
was a lot of
describe.
fun. I showed it to my son. He liked it. He liked the he
Oh,
liked
you
the
saw that?
animated. Yeah. Mm.
I loved it. Yeah, me too. I loved it. Okay. But one thing about it was, which almost drove the movie into bankruptcy, is that they were going to advertise by having a floating billboard up in space advertising the movie. And I was thinking, who's going to look at it? Who's going to see it? I mean, it's not going to be so big that if you walk out your front door and you look up and you see a floating billboard that says The Last Action Hero, it's not going to be that big.
Yeah, and they didn't even have the ISS station yet. They didn't have the
No,
International Space Station.
correct. So that's what this episode reminds me of. Why put an advertisement out there if nobody can see it?
Did they actually do that? Did they actually go forth with putting the the sign in
No,
space?
no, they almost did. It's infamous. If you look it up on Google, I'm sure it's on Google. But it was a very infamous event in Hollywood history because they were seriously going to go through with it.
It's
At least
probably a good
they,
thing
at
they
least
did.
that. Oh, but that was low key their marketing strategy. Is we're gonna do this stupid thing and everybody's gonna talk about it, and
But
therefore they'll know about the movie. But it's still
just think.
bombed.
But if the
Oh,
movie,
true.
but if they'd spent all the money doing, the marketing with the floating billboard and it still bombed, they would have lost even more money. So maybe it's good they actually didn't follow through. Probably
Yes.
better to just make a good movie. Actually.
It was a good movie.
No, but you know what I mean, Jill. It's like you got to make something that's really going to get the crowds in, like, you know,
Hold
because
on a moment.
Schwarzenegger had
Switching
lots of
happened.
hits, but Schwarzenegger had so many hits, right? So it's kind of a mystery that one would bomb like that. Maybe it just didn't appeal to people at the time when it came out, or maybe there was competition. Maybe other movies against it. I'm guessing.
Well,
Anyway, what do I
according to
That's
Reddit,
probably right.
which I'm looking at right now, it says this is somebody typing on, responding on Reddit. I've
Hmm.
been going around and I haven't been able to get a straight answer. Some people say that the promotion where the movie Last Action Hero paid NASA to put the name of the movie on a rocket failed completely because the rocket never did launch. But other people say that the rocket did launch. As I understand it, the rocket was set to launch before the movie premiered, but because of standard NASA delays, it didn't launch until possibly August, at which point the movie had already been one of the biggest bombs of the summer. So
Oh
they didn't
no.
want any fanfare about it, so they didn't record it or promote the
Uh,
launch.
So if a rocket launches but nobody sees it, did the rocket launch?
Right? And don't tell anybody.
that's a good one, Jill. I get your joke.
See, and that sounds kind of like along the lines of what I heard is that the studio paid a lot of money to NASA to promote that and to put that on one of their rockets, and either it never launched or it did and they didn't tell us because right by the time the movie came out and it was a horrendous bomb, they tried to bury that whole story.
Oh no, that sounds tragic, actually.
It was a marketing ploy for the movie, writes another person. I actually remember seeing the ad for it on TV. The commercial showed a toy rocket painted with the Last Action Hero logo, and the wing said Schwarzenegger. I think he was supposed to record audio and they were going to send it up in the rocket. Once the movie bombed, the planet was abandoned. I never found out which rocket or satellite it was supposed to be, though.
Well, so that's why we never got, the sequel with the detective cat as the main character. The animated cat in the movie that was within the real world. Kind of like Roger Rabbit.
Yes.
Well, back to the
And I'm
episode.
looking at the
Oh, go
sorry, I'm
ahead.
looking at the actual commercial. I'm looking at the commercial right now. So they
Oh,
okay,
Oh,
right.
careful.
They actually did make a commercial, and I'm looking at it right now. So yeah, you dial 1-900-9 rocket. Uh, it was a yes, you can send your message to outer space. I guess I don't know. It's convoluted, but yeah, let's get back to the uh, lost in space. And I
like
apologize, everybody.
this was like a service from NASA that they promoted people to send their messages that nobody can ever see into space. Wow.
Yes,
Well,
It's not,
where people have money to burn, they're gonna burn it, I guess.
yeah, it sounds like NASA trying to get some extra money to keep things going. To me, I don't know.
It's like buying a star.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Get your name on a star. Yeah.
I remember when that was popular when I was a teacher, and everybody every time they had somebody's birthday party or it was a wedding
Oh
or
man.
somebody was retiring, yeah, they'd buy him one of those stars.
I find that very amusing actually, because I mean, seriously, who's going to bother looking up your name on a some
Yeah, that's
some
just it.
tiny star?
Right? Well, you know what it was is somebody in their house at home thought, and I'm talking about this is similar to the pet rock. It's like, wow, what a great idea! I'll tell everybody that they're buying a star. All they gotta do is send me $50, and I'll get rich, and I'll never have to prove if they own anything or not.
Actually, yeah, I guess that's kind of true. Yeah, just send them a little certificate saying your name is now this star.
Yeah, you're a
Maybe a
star.
little
Yeah.
chart. Yeah.
Or you're a lord or lady, but you own like like
Oh yeah, you can get like
a square
yeah.
foot of land.
You now own a
Yeah.
square foot of land in Scotland, and you are a lord or a lady. Yes,
That was
exactly.
a scam.
And they also try to
So
Yeah,
were
sell.
I
pet.
know. I
So
know.
were so were pet rocks, but millions of people love them. I don't know why. I remember them, by the way, because it was the '70s or whatever. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Because when you decide to say, "Hey, I own this land. Can I visit my land?" and they're like, "No," then you know it was a scam.
They were
Yeah.
even selling craters on the moon.
Wow. Craters on that's one I never heard of. Craters on the moon. That's interesting.
Yep.
Gosh.
But
Wow.
sorry about the wild tangent there, chat.
Fun one though. So
Okay.
I think that the episode itself is kind of making fun of the show itself, talking
Uh-huh.
to the magician, saying, "Well, you're extremely good at blowing up things, but that's Lost in Space in general."
That's
You,
true, exactly.
they had to make Irwin happy that week, right? So they had to, like have some blowing up, somewhere.
Right, that line is spot on. Uh, where he said, "Well, you're very good at blowing up things." Yeah, that's almost like somebody poking fun at Irwin Allen, right?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because if there's
Yeah.
one thing you can give him credit for, he was good at blowing up things. You know,
Very good.
right, may not necessarily be the show, the script, the writing, or the plot, but at least Irwin Allen was always good for blowing up things. And this is what I was talking about the spaceship. And in fact, Dr. Smith is all excited. Yeah, spaceship, yes. And that's what I was talking about. We've seen this spaceship before. The columns on either side of it, those columns are, as you can see, are semi-transparent. Those were introduced just like a few episodes back. They were the radiation. What was it? It was something on the planet, and they were testing it. It was a radiation something or other. So that's at least the second appearance of those. And yes, the magician is showing them, and of course the base of the spaceship. We all recognize that, right?
They're from.
Because
It
all
looks
and
familiar, but I
yeah,
can't place the episode it was in.
that base we've seen it in many episodes as the bottoms of ships, and it's also the same one that's at the bottom of the full scale mock-up of the Jupiter 2, and we'll see it again. So that's my point is we've seen it before and we'll see it again.
Nice.
And the top looks like a diving bell or something. It's round.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That they borrowed it from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea originally.
Well,
Oh,
this whole
makes sense.
episode is magic. So then finally, at least he magicked up a spaceship.
Yes.
But that proves that his magic has a scientific basis, then, does
It,
it not, Jill?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It seems like he's a
Well,
better scientist than a magician.
But he did make a
Maybe
Right.
he
spaceship up
actually
there.
got in there and actually built it and just pretends it's magic because he is a pretty bad
Oh,
magician.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
You
yeah,
know,
I'll be right
yeah.
back, guys. I'll be
True.
right back.
no, it's
So
just my
maybe,
theory because he's not a good magician. If he tried to magic any of that up, the you know the spaceship would just not be good because everything he tries to conjure doesn't work. So my theory is that he's actually a brilliant engineer, but he just like he just can't seem to he'd
so
rather be a magician, but he sucks at it.
I'm
So it's like
guessing.
if like Loman, like that guy who wants to be a salesman, but he's not really good at being a salesman. He's good at something else.
Hmm,
Mm.
so you're saying he's actually a brilliant scientist, a brilliant engineer, but he always wanted, since he was a little kid, to be a magician, but he just always sucked at it. So now he's using his science to kind of do magic tricks to pretend to be a magician, even though he still sucks at it, and he still looks goofy when he does it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's my theory, or else he pretends he's bad at magic and he's good at it.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Interesting points,
But
though, Jill. Yeah,
but it's just like
definitely.
they don't really say that the magic has anything to do with science. He says spirits obey my command. So that doesn't sound like science.
Yeah, well, it sounds like Lost in Space, actually, to me. Season two. Season two, I'll qualify that. Okay, season
Yeah.
two.
That's a good qualifier. Yes. I agree with that. And also, this I guess what's magic about it is how fast this thing is. I don't know how far away
Faster
the
than
Jupiter
Jupiter 2.
2. Yeah, faster than Jupiter 2. Faster
Yeah.
than any ship we've seen, really.
By the way, that's a great still again of Al Lewis. I think Al Lewis has a fascinating, there's something fascinating about the geometry of that guy's face. I mean, he just has such a unique look, does he not? There's something about him. I mean, he's got like kind of a squarish face almost, if that makes any sense.
I can't argue with that.
But I
But
think it's
yeah, see, there it is again. To call my spirit. What the F is a spirit?
maybe he owns a distillery somewhere, Jill.
Ah, there you go. Well,
I don't know.
no, yeah, he does. He's able to conjure up champagne.
That's right. He did off. Did he? He did take out a drink, did he not, with Smith? Yeah.
I think maybe because we never see the replicator machine again in Lost in Space. Because I looked that up, I was like, "Oh, do we have a replicator now?"
Oh,
No,
really? Oh, darn.
I don't think so. So
I'd forgotten.
maybe,
I haven't seen these in
maybe,
ages.
maybe the magician stole the replicator and he's just using it to pretend to be magic,
Hmm.
and that's his spirit. And
Gosh.
because he replicates some champagne for
Hmm.
Dr. Smith.
Yeah, that's one thing. They don't ever really explain a lot of it in the episode, do they, Jill? It's like,
No, they don't explain anything.
know,
It doesn't make any sense.
yeah. Still, after the last couple, I actually kind of really like this one. I think I enjoyed it more because Al Lewis was the featured, alien, for lack of a better word. I didn't see him as a bad guy or hostile, or I didn't find him scary at all. I got to be honest. Like, to me, he was just kind of more like kind of a bit silly. He was kind of lovable actually. He didn't scare me at all.
Well, he's not scary, but he is a murderer
Okay, refresh my memory.
or attempted murderer. He was gonna he was tricking Smith to go into the ship to send off the rockets that would explode not only the asteroid but the
Oh,
ship itself,
and he'd
killing
kill Will too.
killing Dr. Smith and Will.
I'm trying to remember what was the reason for that, Jill. Was there a reason for that? Like, yeah, now that you've jogged my memory,
Reason?
yeah.
Yeah, so he could advertise and put his advertisement up in space saying, "I'm the most awesomest ever. I hope you're watching while I'm doing this."
But why did he have to? Did he intentionally want to kill them, or did they just happen
No,
to?
they just happen to be useful idiots.
Okay, so in a way, maybe he wasn't totally evil. It was just like, Smith
I
wanted
think
to.
I think if you come up with a plan that involves you offing somebody, then I think you're kind of evil.
Yeah, I guess. But maybe it was just like Smith was so wanting to get on the ship. Maybe he's just like, okay, go for it. I don't know.
I don't know either, but at some
You could
point,
be right.
this guy's well, but no, I'm definitely well. I think he's done this before, where he's tried to take over somebody's mind, but it didn't work. So that person beat him up so badly, he had to like drink soup. Like
For a
I guess
week.
maybe through a
Right.
straw or something.
I guess maybe he is evil. I guess I'll have to concede your point, Jill.
Yeah, it's just he's evil, but he's played by a very charming actor, so you don't realize it.
Yeah,
True.
actually, that's pretty much what happened to me. I just got into Al Lewis being such fun. I didn't think about how the character was being kind of evil there. Yeah, yeah, good
He
point.
is, but and it's. I thought this scene was hilarious. The hypnotism scene between him and Harris was hilarious. You could just tell those two know each other and they've got a lot of chemistry. They know exactly where to play off each other. And I don't know, I like that.
It's like a perfect balance, this clip, isn't it? When you look at the two of them there,
Yes.
symbiosis.
Well, it helps too because they're both old at the time. They're both older and they both worked with each other previously. So they had a lot of experience. They could just recall back some of their old gags that they had played before in the past, which, and that always helps. But by the way, it also saves rehearsal time when they're filming the show too. So I'm sure the director loved it.
Yeah, the thing is too, when you've got two really high quality professional actors like they were at the time, it's like there's this, since they've worked together previous occasions, there is that sense of trust and kinship and understanding how the other person performs, and they kind of play off each other, as you said. So
Yes.
so yeah, yeah, totally, yeah.
Well, yeah, like two old friends.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Also,
hey, can we
he's
catch
also
up
a
on chat?
xylophone. Yeah.
Good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Taylor Swift says it definitely seemed it's restored. Looks great. He's
You
talking
can
about
tell by
Metropolis here.
Yeah, you can tell by the running time, if you paid attention to the running time while you were there, then you that would tell you a lot. Actually, just want to mention
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Then
sure. I'm
Taylor
sure
Swift
it was a restored version. Yeah.
that would
yeah.
make sense. Yeah,
And Taylor Swift says music sounded great. Well, that's good.
that's cool.
He goes, phone internet, lol.
Oh
AOL.
yeah. Oh yeah. We all remember those days, right?
I don't. I was
Yeah.
lucky. I didn't get my computer in 1998, and by then the dial tone stuff was pretty much gone, and I got cable. Thank goodness. I remember there was that dial tone right when you had to log
Yeah.
into the phone.
Yeah. You're lucky you missed all that, right? There was a dial tone, and then and then the modem. Uh, yeah. You always had the modem having to communicate back and forth.
I remember hearing about it, when I got my first computer. Yeah, it sounded like a bit of a pain.
Yep. But like me,
I
I had to rely on it. I was a teacher, and I had to bring my work back and forth from home to school. So I had to rely on having that home internet, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was
Google
pretty slow
promotes.
back then.
Wait, what is this? I
Google
didn't see this.
Google promotes Lookout. It's a program that weapons against Microsoft shenanigans.
Oh,
Or is
no, I
that
didn't know that.
warns against perhaps?
Warns. I'm guessing it warns. The program that warns
Okay.
against Microsoft shenanigans. Got it.
Hey, who says PvP? Thank you for the props on my creativity.
Hey, hey, you're my man, Lemon, like writing my eggnog jokes. I mean, I've got to give you props, of course.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, then Scurvy says PvP. Thank you for the. Oh, Sorry, read that. LOL. And John says,
Hmm.
one time I was flipping through my mom's dictionary and I said, oh my god, I cannot believe that the word gullible isn't in here. Mom fell for it and looked, it took her a minute to get it. I see. We played that so many times, sir.
That's a good
But we
one.
always did that. They had something written on their forehead when they go, or something on their forehead, and they go to rub their forehead, and they go, "Oh, it's just gullible." Uh, Taylor Swift says Car 54 is awesome. But
Cool.
another thing with that gullible thing there is, if you ever have kids, and you ever going past like a packing house or like a hog confinement facility and all that, just ask them if they smell popcorn. I would just watch them take a deep breath. It's totally worth it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, kid's
Oh,
still
gee,
mad at me
gorilla.
for that one.
Oh my.
That Car 54 is awesome. I haven't watched it. Now, Swift, are you far back in the stream when they discuss Car 54? And he goes, running time was well north of 2 hours. All right, and he goes, yeah, it was Warren, sorry. Sorry, all right. All right, we're all caught up on chats.
Cool, thank you. So here we have Maureen and John working on the force field. And basically, they're just delaying and stalling. I should never have left him with Mr. Zalto. There he is, see? That's what I was telling you about. There's Dr. Smith with his own red suit. Smith, the seer, is here. But it's a nice costume. I would love to have that like on Halloween.
That was cool.
Yeah, that one's low key enough that it just looks like a general wizard's costume. And only,
Uh-huh.
and if somebody knows where it's from, you've got a friend.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So this is the traditional dress of the magician's apprentice.
See, at this point, I thought from now on that Smith was going to be brainwashed by the magician, but I guess it didn't hold because the magician's not a good magician. So there was
Yeah,
that didn't last.
right. Which also it might be because of Smith's diminished mental capacity.
Oh, right, he can't count.
Right.
Hmm.
So I'm prepared. So here's where Smith believes he's going to get into the rocket ship, and from what Zalto's telling him, he's going to go up there and shoot off a couple rockets that do nothing. Oh, I miss marbles. I remember when you can go into a store and you see them for sale right up by the front counter. They don't do that anymore. Of course, I don't miss stepping on jacks as well.
What's worse, stepping on jacks or Legos?
I had to be. Well, Legos are plastic and jacks are metal and pointed, so it had to be jacks. I'm guessing. Have you ever
My
stepped
kids
on a
don't play
jack?
with jacks, so I haven't stepped on a jack.
We
I
have
see. That's
plastic jack.
yeah. There was a point when
Ours
they
are
made
plastic.
plastic ones. Do they still sell the plastic ones?
Yeah, the
What a
metal ones
shame.
are hard to find.
That's like
So
plastic
what?
slinkies. It's like,
Oh, yeah, those don't last very long anyway. But they still make the metal ones.
Well, they're not. Well, in all fairness, Jill, Slinkies don't last very long when the kids tend to stretch, see how far they can stretch them out.
Yeah, it weren't right. So as soon as you get Slinky, you got to find a set of stairs immediately because that Slinky is not long for this world.
Right.
Yeah.
And you
Hey,
gotta
I
try.
don't. Oh, go
Slinkies
ahead.
come with disclaimers. Slinkies should come with disclaimers. When you give them to your kids, say, don't stretch this out too far or you're going to be without a toy. If you want to have a toy, you've got to take care of it.
Yeah,
If
right.
not,
Yeah.
but if not, then that's exactly what they'll do. The first thing they'll do is go out and.
Yeah.
Same thing with the old Stretch Armstrong toy. If you don't warn them, they're going to go out and stretch as far as they can and find out the hard way.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
some
it'll get
people
to
who
shrink.
are. I know some people who are like Slinkies though. They ain't good for much, but they sure are a lot of fun watching them fall down a flight of stairs.
Oh, Slinky, go.
Mm. All right, where were we on the show?
Things sure are dull with Dr. Smith gone so much. So not, I don't know why they're making it look like so much time has passed because Dr. Smith has not been gone that long. Supposedly he's gone over and he's working with Zolto.
Well, and they also try to interject the robot being a philosopher, but thinking about the spice of life is nothing new or anything or creative.
Correct. The back of my hand to you, you elevated armor. Can't read it. My rocks are in the way.
So Smith not having been brainwashed by the wizard or magician, decides he can steal his spaceship to go to Earth.
Yep. Right. So in other words, Zolto is thinking that he tricked Smith into taking this flight up there to cause a huge explosion to advertise for his company. And on the other hand, Smith thinks he tricked Zolto so he could steal that ship long enough to take it to Earth.
But there's a assertion here. Is this true that Smith is a pilot? I don't remember. Has there been an episode where he flies? Or
No,
usually actually Will is piloting, isn't he?
or the robot. Right, there was a couple episodes like in the first season where he was trying to get the robot to take over the ship. So we're assuming that the robot knows how to pilot something.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely the
But,
robot can.
right, but later on, as the seasons progress, the episodes progress, I guess they leaned more toward Will being the pilot, possibly.
Yeah, they alternate, I think. So they have they try to have a moment here, and the robot, for some reason, okay, I can buy that he's gonna simulate crying, but why does he need tissues?
Oh, I know, right? That's a little overdoing it. But you could thank the writer for that. Hey, at least it's not Peter Packer writing this episode, right?
It's true.
And here comes our train.
Favorite time of the night.
I'm guessing they threw the tissues in for comedy effect.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just saying, because that's Lost in Space. I can see Lost in Space doing that, right, guys? So even though it makes no sense because the robot's not going to shed tears, but I think it was just for comedy and comedy purposes.
Absolutely. So Penny comes looking for Dr. Smith, and she says he's outside saying goodbye. Or she comes looking for, Dr. Smith, and she says he's outside saying goodbye to Will and the robot. And as she gets out there, she finds out that he's already long gone. But she's got to get that journal back to him because he wanted to take it with him to Earth. And those
Yeah,
now
it's like It's like a bunch
Right.
of data on all of the scientific discoveries he's made.
Right. Or lack thereof. And here we have a combination of computers and just assorted props from the show. But those masks, those are ones that PvP was asking about. Yeah, we've definitely seen those before.
You need the computers because there's got to be something that says, no, this isn't all just magic. Look, there are computers.
Exactly.
I don't know why this magician is getting lost within the solar system when his spaceship is so fast.
Well, I guess, and according to all these ships that we are introduced to on Lost in Space, none of them have any kind of sort of GPS system, I guess, right? Because they don't even seem to have a navigation system. It's like they're all just pointing the ships in a certain direction and just going.
Yeah, right. There's no kind of navigation ever mentioned, but to that point though, there must be some kind of navigation somewhere because Smith says, "Well, when we get back to Earth, we can just tell them this is where your family is, and we can come back and rescue them." But how can they rescue them if there's no coordinates to base it on?
Exactly. So here's where he's telling him, I think you should board the spaceship. How much I appreciate this opportunity. Of course, he's not telling the truth. Now, this, by the way, guys, this scene here is the scene that I was talking about earlier that I read from the book and that I've been telling you about previously. This is the old burlesque routine that Al Lewis was talking about that they did, where it's tit for tat, back and forth, back and forth. When the director says, we have 5 minutes, we need 5 minutes. So they said, okay, what do we do to stall the scene along a little further? That's why they have the scene with the luggage, where Dr. Smith keeps going back and forth from the ship. And then, oh, you forgot this. He goes, okay. He goes back and gets in, oh, you forgot this. And then so on, back and forth, back and forth. That's what they're talking about, the old burlesque yet. And burlesque goes way back. It's like vaudeville days.
But yeah, that's what happens. We'll get stuck inside because this guy, he's ready to launch his ship and he doesn't want to wait around for a kid to get out.
Well,
So
it's crazy. Yeah, it's
it is
crazy
crazy.
because Will comes in and says, I've got to give this to Dr. Smith, his journal. And Zolto says at first, he says, but you get ready to leave, you get ready to leave. And Will says, but I got to give this to him. All Will has to do is just open the door, hand it to him, close the door. But Will gets in and sits down.
Yeah, he could just toss it in there.
Yes. There's right there, you can tell those really for sure that how much Al Lewis looks like the dummy.
Yes, agreed. But
But
unfortunate, the boy will be destroyed also.
yes, a pity, a pity. But he had nowhere to go at the end. He had nowhere to go to board the ship. Right, but they didn't exactly stop him either.
No, is the magician like okay? So I know in reality it's Bobby who's voicing the ventriloquist, but within the story, is it just the magician talking to himself, or is it like an alien puppet
I think,
or a magic puppet that's possessed?
oh, I hadn't thought of that angle. I'm thinking, I don't think it's supposed to be like an alien, but now, of course, I don't remember now. They never explained, so I'm just guessing. But I'm guessing it is the ventriloquist that is talking, meaning the magician. I'm guessing it's supposed to be the magician's voice.
That's the
But they,
simplest explanation. That's probably correct.
that's what you think it would be because he's right there next to it.
It's
Ginger,
probably correct. It's just
I got,
that I'm
I
watching
got,
something and I'm hoping they, I don't know. I want something.
oh, of course. Hold on a second. I gotta get my dog.
Okay, for sure. Hello to Jim's Landscape and Oiler Greg. How are you guys doing? The robot will inform them. Okay, so they're headed to Earth because Smith has nothing to do with this advertisement. He's never had any intention to actually help the magician put on his advertising campaign to spread his name across the galaxy. Like, how big are
Galaxy?
these rockets? Like,
Right, exactly,
did
right.
they say? Did they say galaxy? I feel like that's something that Lost in
We,
Space would do.
it has to be Galaxy. Universe would be just too. That's crazy.
Right. It is crazy. Like, you should say, to proclaim my genius throughout the solar system. That would make sense. But it says galaxy. Yes.
Yes.
But Will does not want to go to Earth. And so he makes that pretty clear. Oh, be right
No, of
back.
course. Well, for good reason. Not only does he not want to get separated from his family, but Will still has in mind the mission to go to Alpha Centauri.
I think
Okay.
that dream is long gone.
Well,
Hey,
hopefully
and
not.
welcome. Yeah, hey, welcome, Euler, Greg, and Jim. Welcome.
Hello, Greg. Hello, Jim. Good to see you. Hope you guys are doing well. That box on the wall behind Smith reminds me of a bug zapper. So hopefully they don't have mosquitoes or flies aboard that ship, right?
Here, I'll run for Jill to get back here. Let's catch up on chats.
Good idea. Thank
Sorry
you.
about that. I had to read something for my daughter. She can read, but she gets lazy and she makes
It's
me read.
okay.
I just think she wants
She's
mom
only
to.
5.
She probably just
All
wants
right,
mom to
Taylor
read it
says
to her,
this
Joe.
is the car.
Yeah, you're right.
So what was that, Gorilla?
Missed the car 54
Taylor Swift says
discussion.
that would be great if you ever covered that.
I know, but it's too difficult. We've learned from because we're covering Gilligan's Island, and it's impossible to do comedies.
Well, it is.
The
That was my
timing
problem
and
with the
everything.
Orville. With the Orville, I made sure to leave out any of the jokes that didn't pertain to the plot.
Right. Which makes it even more. If you have not seen it, and it makes it more full of holes to where the people at home are in the chat are scratching their head like, "Well, what's going on? I don't know what's going on."
So
And
yeah,
if the
you're
whole episode is a comedy, it works with the Orville because it's also science fiction and there's also a plot to follow aside from the comedy. But if the whole episode is a comedy, then then you're left pretty much nothing.
Right.
so yeah
Exactly.
you have to do a comedy episode with basically nothing about the comedy, and if nobody's seen it, then they are going to be scratching their heads. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it sounds like what you're doing is, it sounds like you're doing an autopsy to a comedy episode, and you're picking it apart for its comedy, and you're basically taking a show that you originally loved, and it sounds like you're destroying it. Believe me, otherwise I'd be doing Get Smart right now.
Mm. Yeah, it's easier to do drama, definitely.
Yep, my first
All
choice would
right,
be Get Smart.
Get Smart would be great. Yeah, that's a great show.
all right. Scurvy says car 54, or where are you? Lost somewhere in the lake. All right. Robot would miss Smith.
Yes, you would.
And Jim says hello.
Hi, Jim.
Now we're gonna have a bunch
Hello,
of
Jim.
everybody
Hello.
saying hello to everybody. Then Greg says hello, Pop.
We're back
And
to
cheers,
you, Older Greg.
everyone. And Scurvy's giving us some wine.
Cheers.
All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you, guys. Oh, reminder: there's a poll in the chat. If you get a chance, if you'd like to participate, feel free to vote. Let us know. Give us a grade on which you would give this episode or our coverage of this episode, whichever, it's up to you. But the poll is in the chat. Please try to do that before the stream is up. at which point I will show the results. I'm blocking this and move this out of the way. So we have Dr. Smith and Will well on their way to Earth, supposedly. And it seems like you notice every minute or so, Dr. Smith seems to be hitting the controls and sending the ship off in the wrong direction. So you think if you're on a ship with, especially a small ship like this, the last thing you do is want Dr. Smith's hands anywhere near the controls.
Yeah, yeah. You know the weird thing too was it didn't seem to matter what controls he hit; they still got to Earth.
Oh, was the magic spaceship?
But I mean, that's another thing that really didn't make sense if you thought about it
No,
too
it
much,
doesn't
right?
make any sense. I don't.
But once again, I go back. It's like, okay, it's season 2, Lost in Space, Batman time. That's the only way I get through some of these episodes, to be honest, is thinking about, well, it's the Batman effect at work again. But I still had fun watching this episode. I'm not trying to be, too negative or anything. Oh boy.
Okay, so Jill
Yeah.
stepped away. No, she is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm here. I'm just trying to get to Earth.
Just trying to get to Earth like the rest of us.
Will isn't too excited about it because his family won't be there.
There we go. So now, suddenly Will is important, and the robot is notifying the Robinsons that he's been taken hostage. And there they are passing time as they're going through and heading back to Earth again. And I'm sure you guys, now remind me, because I've seen all these episodes so many times. Is this the first time we've seen this interior of a ship before? Because if not, we'll see it again. But I do recognize that we've seen it in lots. I've seen it in lots of space before. I just can't remember if this has been in a previous episode or a future episode that we're going to be covering. Do any of you guys remember?
Not offhand. I don't remember that red pole going down the middle between them, because that kind of stands out, right? But
It could always change. It's a prop dressing.
yeah, I don't recall this in any particular episode actually.
That's
But
fine.
I mean, it could have been.
That's fine. That's okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have the Robinsons back on that planet. The Robinsons arriving at the entrance to the cave where the robot has led them. And now they're going to try to find out where Will is. And they're going to force the magician to bring Will back. And
Yes,
Dr.
I
Smith
do
is-
like that. I do like that. I do like the forcefulness of Dr. Robinson, John Robinson, in saying, "Hey, you got to do this," and he pretty much gets the magician to do what he needs. But here, we learn that Smith is allergic to all these things. Do you think this will carry forth that he's allergic to space travel?
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. Will they remember this in future episodes?
But yeah,
Especially
this is the
big
thing
travel.
now. He's got to sneeze in the next episode.
And here's where they tell him to bring back Will, and he says it's too late. And they basically say, no, it's not too late. You're going to bring him back. I can't read. Jorla, can you hide that? I'm having trouble with subtitles because
My
that
son
one
is
in
the
the way.
only the only thing that's important to me, and I think this is the only thing in season 2 that's truly improved, is that John Robinson is more forceful in protecting his family in season 2 than he was in season 1.
Yes. But even then, it seems like it kind of flip flops back and forth. So here's where they call Zalto on it. Smith never had any intention of going near the asteroid. And look, he's heading straight for Earth. So here's where the magician realized that he's been tricked. He thought he was going to trick Dr. Smith, but in turn, he was actually tricked by Dr. Smith.
This is the part that's kind of weirding me out, Bids, because why does a robot know how to mind read Mr. Zalto to know his motives? That he just intended for Will and Dr. Smith to blow up. Maybe if he said, I can read your computer devices, like I'd believe it more if he can read the computer devices that have maybe his plans in it or something.
True.
But it feels more like he's just saying he read his mind.
I'm guessing maybe there's that lost script where the robot interacted with Mr. Spock and learned the mind melding technique, Jill. And we never got to see that one because they didn't actually put it into production. No,
Okay.
an
So
idea. I don't know. It's as good a
so
theory as I got. I don't know, Jill. I mean,
so
it doesn't make
B9 can mind meld. This is what you're saying.
sure that could be good. I don't know. I don't get some of this either. Some of it makes no sense, but yeah, I thought I'd throw it out there. What the heck?
Good as answers in here.
Okay, thank you, Jill.
My greatest feat of magic, ruined by a worthless assistant.
But he
I
also
love that
called him
look on his
cunning.
face.
Yeah,
What's
the look
that?
on his face is pretty good. But he also called him cunning, and I think Dr. Smith would have loved to hear that.
Oh, yes. That's for sure.
It's not going to play.
Right, here's where John is putting his foot down. There is a method of communications, a radio.
That makes more sense for the robot to be able to detect.
Even though it's old, I mean, I'm guessing by the looks of it, it looks like a makeshift ham radio.
I've been wanting to get a ham radio or maybe a CB.
CB, I've been watching. I thought about that too, Jim, but I used to have a CB when I was young. But I was looking at videos on YouTube that people are buying them just to test them out to see if anybody's out there. And I saw several videos, but just one example was the guy that bought one and he went on a road trip from like New York to LA or something. It was across the United States. And he didn't find anybody. So you can buy one and then you can sit at home saying, over 10-4, over. Anybody out there? Anybody out there? You may not get anything. I'm starting to wonder if you have a better opportunity with a ham radio. But the problem is the ham radio is a much bigger investment. You have to have a license. It's expensive, the radio itself. And it also relies on the size of the antenna.
But yeah, it
You
sounds
know,
more useful.
it is more useful. But most
Yeah,
successful ham operators, I'm sure you guys, every now and then throughout your lives, you pass by a house that has one tall single antenna sticking up out of the roof that goes up about 100 feet high. That's a ham radio antenna.
well, the
So
thing
if
is, I
you
I
go
know
ahead,
I know something about Citizens Band Radio because I had one of my best friends who was a huge Band nut back in the '70s. He was on there every day going breaker breaker, and he was chatting with all kinds of people driving down the highway or wherever the heck they were, right? And it
Right.
was like, big in the 70s. Like he could spend
Yes.
hours on there, right, chatting with folks, Buck. But
Yep. Before
I
the internet.
yeah, but I think it's kind of an obsolete technology now. Like I think there's more of us on here doing stuff like this than on a CB radio. So I would guess that you could buy one and spend many hours trying to find anybody that wanted to talk because there might not be anybody on there much, is what I'm thinking.
It
You know?
also depends on where you're located. If you buy
Yeah.
one, like let's say if you live in Dallas, Texas, and you buy a CB radio, and you find out there's nobody near Dallas, Texas with a CB radio,
Hmm.
you're gonna have to drive around if you want to try to find somebody. And no one's gonna want to keep driving around just till they find someone to talk to on a CB radio.
Well, the cost of gas, I mean, just driving around to talk to a
Yes,
stranger, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think a ham radio might, though, because that's got like a huge range, does it not? And you might
there's a
talk to people
larger
on,
range,
yeah,
but bigger investment. It's more expensive. Like I said,
true.
big antenna.
Mm. Yeah, but I think Citizens Band is kind of like it's like payphones, payphone booths. It's kind of it's antiquated and it's kind of past technology. At least that's the way I see it. I don't know.
Yes, but it's still out there.
Hmm.
In fact, you can look it up on YouTube, and you can compare their videos for people that are using ham radios and the people who are using CB radios. So anyway, we have back to Lost in Space. We have the ship closing in on supposedly Earth. Oh, Earth. And once again, it doesn't look like Earth, at least for us. But that's another thing too is Dr. Smith says when he calls on the radio Alpha Control, and it says something like this is Space Command. So does that mean this is not Earth? Did you guys keep having to catch that?
I didn't even pay attention to that.
Are you okay, Gorilla? You sound tired.
I am.
Well, you can bow out if you need to. I understand. But if you do, first give us your review
Uh,
if you're up to it.
I could wait a
If
little bit
not, I
longer.
understand.
I could wait a little bit longer.
Okay, I don't want to force you to do anything you don't want to do.
All
All
right, let's
right,
just
so
get this
let's
going.
yeah. So here's where they arrived into Earth, and they can see it, and they're going to be closing in. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry, guys,
It's
but
never really clear if it is Earth, though. I think that's pretty much it, right, Pop? It's not 100% because it doesn't look like Earth to me, and you know they
right,
don't.
but the question is for Lost in Space back in 1966. Did they have any realistic paintings of Earth? We don't know because
Hmm.
they use the same one over and over and over.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because I mean we know Star Trek had some episodes like Miri that had an identical Earth, so you think they might have got there might have been some kind of stock thing they might have used, but I'm just taking a wild guess there. Um, but the thing is, doesn't Will identify himself as Will Robinson when he's
He
talking?
does, and he does, and they don't respond to it.
Yeah, that's what puzzled me because I'm thinking if, the Robinsons are, lost in space and suddenly Will Robinson identifies himself, flying towards the Earth, if it is the Earth, you think somebody at Space Command or Alpha, whatever, they would go, "Oh, it's Will Robinson." And, it's his voice. We have his voice
Yes,
print or whatever, right? And they would know it was him.
yes,
So,
exactly.
yeah, I'm thinking it's probably not actually Earth, Pop. I
But they
think,
can't hear.
No,
Yeah, that's right. And so Smith keeps
I just
getting
figured.
distracted. Mhm.
I just figured the transmitter was broken where they're receiving but can't transmit.
Right, because
That's the
That's
thought that came
uh,
up.
the so-called Earth cannot hear them. Yes.
Well, it's hard to say.
Yeah,
The magician's ship could be, wonky too, right? So,
Right, and maybe it's on the wrong frequency.
yeah, it could be
that could
many
be true.
possibilities. Hmm.
The transmitting parts can be installed on Tuesday.
It's always Tuesday.
They forgot to order those parts ahead of time, so yeah.
Darn Radio Shack.
Oh man.
Okay, so Dark Smith tried to identify himself. That didn't seem to help. And the voice coming back from the planet basically says, "We don't know who you are." And they warn them that they're going to fire back if they don't identify themselves, which apparently they're unable to do.
Well, but wait a minute. Why does Smith think, oh, let's fire rockets at Earth? That'll make them
Yeah.
friendly.
That'll tell them that we're friendly, right? Fire rockets at them. Which, of course, does exactly the opposite of that effect, as I'm sure we would all guess, right?
Yeah, that was a big mistake. Like if he hadn't fired the rockets, I could see. I mean, it's a tiny little ship, and you wouldn't think it would be a huge threat to any planet. But once he fires the rockets, it's like, now, well, then we get this response, right?
But
Exactly.
I did love this stock footage. This is cool.
It is cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there they are. They sent off with 3 rockets, 3 stock footage. And they don't show the rockets leaving Smith and Will's ship, but we see the rockets coming from the planet. Fortunately, it doesn't destroy our hero's ship, apparently. And there we go, explosion. Oh, perfect. So the robot says they have an incoming ship, and they do. They arrive, and Professor Robinson tells Zalto he better be gone by morning. And Smith is delusional, thinking he's on Earth still. And the robot says he'll be fine in a few hours.
All right, they went back to the Smith is crazy plot for
Yes,
some reason.
we're going to recap that.
Oh, but Zalto did his disappearing act, so he doesn't have to worry. Like where he disappeared to without his rocket ship, I don't know.
But the aliens have been disappearing regularly at the end of episodes lately, it seems. So,
Oh,
Yeah, they don't say where Zalto goes. I guess he leaves all his belongings behind.
mm. I like how Smith's also allergic to rabbits, apparently, in that last scene there.
Yep.
he's allergic to rabbits. He's allergic
Oh,
to champagne, ragweed, and space travel.
yeah, it's a growing list. Oh, man.
But it looks like we're going somewhere in the next episode.
Yeah, it looks like they're preparing to launch. So they're testing all the
Yeah,
systems and the fuel.
you can always hope, right, Jill?
No, PvP. I fully believe that the Jupiter 2 is going to take off and leave this planet in the next episode.
Okay.
It is. And but quick question, guys. Did I miss it, or did they ever mention the name of this planet?
They didn't.
Okay, that's fine. Planet 2, I guess. Maybe it's pro-planets. There's supposed to be a pre-planets. Maybe this is pro-planets. I don't know.
That's clever, but I don't know. I haven't heard it. But they're
Maybe
going to Alpha Centauri, their original mission. All on. Like, hey.
Oh,
Maybe it's
800 hours.
Could be post planets. I don't know.
Oh, the 0800 it is. And we have Dr. Smith, Will, about apparently doing some chores. And Will has a not good idea that there's a rock formation that they could maybe get some chunks of rocks out of it and do some geological assays on the way to Alpha Centauri. And it is funny when Will brings up Alpha Centauri, Dr. Smith says he doubts they'll ever see it. I thought that was kind of interesting. And we get our cliffhanger for next week.
Da-da.
And our wonderful music, of course. God bless John Williams. Live forever. Okay, let me get this ready here. Reminder, everybody, if you haven't done so, vote in the chat on what you think about this episode. If this is your first time to this channel, I hope you enjoyed it. Perhaps consider hitting the like button and maybe subscribe and share. Let other people know out there about us. There we go. Okay, and what I usually do at this point is I go around and ask each person for their review and to let us know about their channel. And Gorilla, since it's very late for you, how about you first? Are you up for it?
Yeah, like I don't know how I'd rank this episode there because I was kind of crabby when I watched this. You know, I'm kind of getting sick and tired of it only being Doctor Smith, Will Robinson, and the robot there. And the one thing I like about Star Trek a lot better is, yeah, they did cheap cosmetics on the people, but at least they gave them some different ears or ridges or painted them blue or whatever. You know, this one they're like every single alien looks human. You know, it's one thing if like a couple of them looked human. You know, like the Betazoids look human. You know, and the Trill kind of look human, but then they had a lot of different ones where the Vulcans had ears, the Klingons had ridges. You
Well,
know,
well,
the
yeah, but
Dory.
even with the Trill had those two looking marks, and the
Yeah.
Betazoids have the big irises, those eyes.
Oh, I didn't. I never noticed that on that. You know,
What?
yeah,
You
I
never noticed that the Betazoids have bigger irises? Okay, that's fine.
Pupils.
well, am I
Pupils, you're
supposed to be
right,
looking them in
pupils.
the eye? Am I supposed
Yeah,
to be looking them in the eye? But I just don't know how to ring. Like and
for
plus,
Troy,
well,
because she's half human.
yeah, and plus it's one of those. It's I wasn't. It's like a magic crap, like a bad musician thing, and just I was getting lost in it. And there was points of it. I just started going doing other things like dishes and when and other stuff there. So I was maybe C minus, D
That's okay.
plus.
If you don't want to watch them, you don't have to.
No, I'm watch. No, I'm enjoying doing this with you, Pop. And I said I'd do it. I'm just saying I wish they'd come up with something other than human looking aliens. And I wish we could have more of Penny and what's the blonde gal's name? We haven't.
Judy.
Oh, Judy. See, we haven't had her
I
too
know.
much stuff. I forgot her name.
I don't want it to seem like it's a chore to you.
No, it's not a chore. I'm just saying that the season two it's really having that Batman effect. You can tell versus season one, if that's
Nice.
making
Sure,
sense.
he just
Oh,
likes to do
I
chores
agree.
while he watches.
I agree. Though season one, I think it was a lot more finely crafted than season two, and I do agree. I think it is the Batman effect as well, girl. I do.
Yeah. All right, Jill. How about you?
Oh, me next. Okay. Well, I kind of agree. A lot of the dialogue it was padded. There was a lot of dialogue padding, so you actually could fold your laundry or do your dishes or do some other thing and still get the gist of the story that happened here. But I kind of preferred the beginning of the episode when I thought it was going to be a psychological horror with the creepy doll. The creepy puppet, ventriloquist puppet, because it was really driving Smith insane in actuality, and it was kind of creepy, especially when the puppet says, "We could pad the walls and put in a barred door, then you wouldn't hurt yourself." And so I was really getting some horror vibes there that just completely disappeared a couple of scenes later. But the best part of the episode is when John uses his authority to get the wizard to cooperate. So it's always good to see John be a good father. That's one thing. The wholesome aspect is what this show is good at. And it's funny that the magician who is useless in magic has created a spaceship faster than any the Robinsons have ever encountered. But there's it's just all seems to be magical. So I didn't really get any kind of sense of what technology this was actually behind this alien, which would have been fun to see.
Right.
And okay, so probably the thing that bothered me the most was when they were near Earth and Earth launched a missile at them and the spaceship was damaged. And you think, oh man, okay, now the spaceship can't go anywhere. But poof, in the next episode, without knowing what happened or what the damage was to the ship, they just magically reappeared exactly where they needed to be to finish the episode.
That's true.
And so just, some things don't make sense. And I give it a D.
Okay, appreciate it, Joe. Thank you. And what
But,
about your channel?
I mean, Lewis is cool. Like the things you bring up with the performances being really good, sure. I'll agree with that. That's why I don't give it an F. My grade was worse when I walked in here, so you guys brought it up a bit. My channel is Antiderivative Jill, and it's the same handle that I use, and I like to talk about science fiction. And this is going to be the first time in over 2 years that I'm covering something that isn't Star Trek, because I started with the Orville, well, DeForest Kelly, and then the Orville, and then the original series, and Star Trek continues. And so now I'm finally breaking away from Star Trek, and I'm covering For All Mankind by Ronald D. Moore. And so tomorrow I'm going to cover the first 2 episodes for that show, and we'll see how it goes. It's always a little nerve wracking going into a new series, but we'll see how it goes. And then on
Okay,
Friday, it's just going to be a short leave because I'm going on an extended trip.
very cool.
First an away mission, a very important mission, and then also a short leave with my family.
So no Friday stream then, Jill, or
No, I'm gonna have a Friday stream this week, but not but I'm gonna have nothing after that. I'm gonna be gone from Saturday all the way through next Sunday, and I'll be back for so I won't be here for next Monday, but I'll be here for the Monday after that. So it'll be
so
up to you if you want to do a Lost in Space while I'm absent.
wow, so you're gone for
Okay.
over a week,
Yes,
over
I'm
over
gonna
a
be
week
gone
now.
for the
Oh
whole
gosh,
week. Yeah, the
wow,
whole 2 weekends and the week.
gosh,
Oh, well, it
wow.
sounds good. I'll probably cancel.
So I won't have a Tuesday show after Friday, or a Friday show after Tuesday.
No Friday show after Tuesday, no Tuesday show after Friday.
Yes.
Got it. And
Oh.
PvP, what say you? What grade would you give this episode? And tell us about your channel.
Well, I struggled with this one. I was probably leaning towards somewhere in the C range. I probably would have gone with like a C minus, but I enjoyed Al Lewis's performance so much, in spite of all the plot holes and inconsistencies and stuff that Gorilla and Jill mentioned previously. So I don't have to recap that, but I pretty much agreed with what both of them were talking about the episode. Um, it is a very flawed episode, but Al Lewis kind of saved it for me because I really did enjoy his performance, even though I thought he was very underutilized, like script wise, dialogue wise. I thought they could have written better dialogue for him, actually, and just made his character a little more consistent and interesting. Which unfortunately, they maybe didn't get to that level, but I bumped it up a notch just because of Al, and I ended up giving it a B minus. It's I don't think it's a great episode, but I enjoyed his performance, and that's basically what saved it for me. But yeah, I wish we would get back to I'm looking forward to season three because I think we do get back to more consistent writing after season two finishes. And there are some of my favorite episodes of the whole series in season three, so I think it rebounds quite nicely. Anyway, that's pretty much my review and rating. Um, and my channel, it's a music channel. I'm posting music clips, playlists, and some live stuff. And I'm actually going to be putting up some of the stuff from the concert I saw on Friday of the British punk band The Damned. It was a
Nice.
fabulous concert. Yeah, and my cousin had his cell phone, and he got clips of about 5 or 6 songs, I think it was. So he's going to email those over to me sometime in the next few days. And once I get those clips, I'll be, adding them to my. I think I'll have to actually, for once, I might have to do an upload to my channel and get those on there somehow. But I'll figure that out, as the days go on. But yeah, there actually already are clips of Vancouver appearing. When I checked last night, there were about 5 songs on there already from Friday, so the fans are already posting stuff. So that's fun. Anyway, that's about it. I guess I'll leave it at that because I know the stream has gone on quite a while now. So
I did that
anyway,
one time when I went to a Vandals concert because I love the Vandals, and I
uh
recorded
huh.
some of the video and I put it on my Facebook when a long time ago. And the guitarist's mom liked my post.
Ooh,
That's all I have to say.
that's very cool. By the way,
Yeah, it
my
is.
cousin, I actually, my cousin and I walked around quite a bit on Friday, when we got there, but, my knees were getting sore. So I went back to the hotel, but my cousin was looking for a jacket. So he went back out and walked around, and he went, somehow he ended up in a produce section. I don't know why, because he was looking for a jacket, but he told me the story. He ended up in a produce section, and there's this guy like looking at the oranges or something, looking at the produce, and he says he recognized him from some of the videos I'd sent him, and he's like, he walks up. My cousin walked right up to him and he said, "Excuse me, are you the keyboard player in the Damned?" And the guy goes, "Yes, yes, I am." So he actually met one of the guys in the band, on Friday afternoon, which kind of blew my mind. And I told my cousin, I said, "Okay, you did get a
Very
you did get
cool.
a picture with him, but he forgot to get a picture with him,
It's
unfortunately."
probably
But
for the best because the guy was out trying to get some food. Kind of
well, I
Yeah.
thought,
inappropriate moment.
but that's a healthy guy, right? He's probably getting some oranges and he's probably going to make some juice before the concert and get energized. And I thought that's a healthy punk rock guy, right? Anyway,
Well,
sorry.
yeah, I mean, if you're noticing punk rock guys who are still alive, there's reason for it.
Well, they've been going 48 years, so they're doing something right, right, Jill?
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
Very
sorry,
cool.
Bob. Didn't mean to
Thank
go
you for
so long.
sharing that with us.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
going to give this episode a B. I enjoyed it. Yes. Without repeating a lot of what you guys said, it had repetitive moments. Plot was weak. You could see where they were milking it, kind of stretching it out many times. But the performance by Al Lewis really, really brings it up for me. Um, I'd say, and of course, as far as prop porn, I love to see all these props be used over and over. So I was not disappointed in that area, and it was great. I try not to repeat what you guys have already said, and that's always difficult when you're the last person on the panel. So, and my channel, oh, as far as my channel, tomorrow night we're going to be covering the movie called Brightburn on the horror sci-fi stream at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and then hopefully 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Wednesday. Gorilla and myself will be covering 2 episodes of season 3 of Gilligan's Island, and then Saturday hopefully I'll be back for Rumblings from the Lab. But yes, that's all of our votes. By the way, don't tune out just yet, guys. I'm going to cover, right now, I'm going to show the results of our poll from the chat. And don't forget, I'm going to, hopefully, if my computer will do it, if my internet will work, I'm going to show the preview for next week's show. If I have the bandwidth, that is. There we go, in full. Bear with me, guys. And here we go. All right, excellent. We got 12 votes tonight. Thank you guys, everybody. What grade would you give Rocket to Earth? And it looks like A plus to A minus gave it a 41%. Nice. B plus to B minus, an additional 41%. C plus to C minus, 16%. And D plus, with my eyes, I've got to really squint. C plus to C minus, 16%. And D plus to F minus, that's 17%.
That's 0, I think, Pop.
Zero.
Zero. D plus got 16. There's 241s and a 16.
That's what my screen is so darn small. And I'm leaning forward and even squinting trying to read it. So I apologize for that. So thank you for voting in the polls. Now, let's see. Hopefully my computer will hold up and my internet will hold up if I could show a preview for next week's episode. And by the way, I wonder, before I forget, thank you, Jill, for the great job on the slides again tonight. I really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it. I know it's hard work.
Yeah, but it makes
And
it
I know
more
it's very
fun for me
tedious.
too.
It does, it does. And thank you, Gorilla, for helping me out with the chat. That also means a lot to me. Thank you so
No,
much for
not a
that.
problem.
Now, here we go. Let's cross my.
T minus 90 and counting.
Don, don't you care what happens to Dr. Smith?
As a matter of fact, well, no.
I am a draconian. I'm afraid Dr. Smith is lost to us. I am the great Oniak.
Okay. And of course, here I am slacking again. Oh, good night, everybody. If you work tomorrow, please drive safe. If you're in a hot area, stay cool. If you're in a cold area, stay warm. Peace out.